Little change this morning, trying to bounce back towards positive territory here, coming off an impressive end to last week as markets continue to digest the latest developments in the Russia and Ukraine war. We're also watching Boeing shares this morning to the downside in a big way, coming off news of a 737-800 that has crashed in southern China. We'll have a look at Boeing shares coming up here. Oil, on the other hand, back to the upside in a big way this morning. The EU now talking about possibly some Russian oil import embargoes as well, following the U.S. along with that. If you remember, all three major U.S. indexes to the upside in a big way to end last week. It was the best week for all three equity markets since November of 2020. The S&P was up 6% on the week. The Dow ending up 5.5%. The NASDAQ leading the way, added 8.1% last week. Pretty impressive right across the board coming off the Fed. As I mentioned, we'll talk about Boeing shares coming up here. Tesla looking pretty good once again. 5 days, looking to make it anyways. 5 days in a row to the upside for Tesla. Lots to get to this morning. It's Monday, March 21st, 2022. tradertv.live starts now. We have guys. Hope everyone's doing well. We'll get on the graphics situation here this morning and hopefully get things back to normal here in a second. Can we bring in the guys here maybe and just jump right into things and see if we can't make a little sense of what is happening? We're not going to have a lower third here for the time being either, guys. Good morning. Welcome to Monday. Hope everyone's well. Yeah, lots of interesting things happening here this morning. The market trying to get back to positive territory here, as I mentioned. Huge week last week, right across the board. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
Yes, sir. Well, okay, so it was a good weekend. The weather was nice yesterday.
Oh, beautiful.
But my Spartans lost. Not that I expected Michigan State to beat Duke. It was not going to happen. But they fought well, man. I love that fighting spirit. So there's a lot to look at. Obviously, this week you had crazy moves last week. Some of the Chinese names went nuts. We'll talk some Pinduoduo, but obviously we'll start things off with the Boeing here. Going to be hard to ignore today. And there's no details just yet, but it's already done a couple million shares in pre-market. And as you said, Brendan, down that 6%. So this is going to be on watch. It's hard to want, without any further details, I mean, it's hard to look anything. But short, I think there could be opportunities, of course, in the future for buys, but let's not forget, this is just it's a tragic story. You never want to see anything like this happen. But either way, we're here to trade. Got to make the most sense of this. And guess what? We have a little bit of price action in that Mullen again. So I guess we'll be back to trading Mullen. That one is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, we're already, good morning, guys. We're already long. BBIG, Vinco Ventures, already long. That's a no-brainer there, breakthrough, $3. So we took that. We got 306. We'll wait to see 305, 306. So we're long 306. Position's not in yet, but we'll figure that out as it goes. But we're long BBIG 306. And actually, I'm going to take the opposite stance for Boeing. I know Neil said it's hard to ignore. I'm going to completely ignore it because honestly, until, like what Neil said, until we get more information on this, to me, like, I can't trade price action when, like, we don't know. There could be stuff coming out that it's not their fault. It could be completely their fault, and that's obviously going to change the stock. So there's no way. For me, I'm gonna stay on the sidelines of BBIG and leave it to others, of Boeing. And it's just, yeah, it has to be watched today for sure. 1.8 million shares down here to 180. But for me, until we get more news, I actually didn't even call it up on a chart. So you won't see Boeing on my radar today. I guess that's a little bit of a pun.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on any developments or further developments coming out of that. The airline itself has grounded the rest of those planes that it had in its fleet until they get more information on this. But yeah, BBIG, huge volume this morning, lots of room to the upside, potentially anyways, and Mullen as well moving around. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss Fee. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Welcome to the brand new week. I wish you a wonderful day. Please smash the like button and let's get it started, Brendan.
Yeah, let's to get through here this morning. There we go. That worked. Good stuff. A lot of people were mentioning Disney here this morning as well. Another one coming off some China news. We'll throw this up to start things off here this morning, guys. The Shanghai Disney Resort shut down again because of COVID spike, also coming out of China, along with that Boeing story. But I mean, not a lot of action here as far as Disney is concerned. in the pre-market. But I mean, this was kind of lingering in the background. This COVID story in China was lingering in the background over the past week or so. What do we make of this today?
Well, I thought I'd read something that there were some things opening back up in China, but obviously, they had that extreme stance, right? Like the COVID zero policy. So, those reactions have led to slowdowns, more concerns that it can spread. I think the bigger story, and it's not that Disney's not a big deal, but talk to me when Nike reports, because what they tell you out of demand is going to be a bigger deal for what's going on in China. And same thing with like NIO, I guess, right? So, that's what's going to matter for me this week. We'll see what happens there. Speaking of Disney, however, let's wake ourselves up when this thing breaks 141, this level here, like a 141 quarter or so. I find so many names, and it's not just you made that great bottom last week and you made the big rallies, but there's so many that have gone right to sort of like the last line where things dropped off heavily and are right there for resistance. So you get a nice consolidation, and some of these names have a chance to break back out again. However, you probably have to consolidate first. I don't know if Disney's going to do much of anything, but I think if we're looking for an indication as to how things are going in China in terms of demand, in terms of the economy, I think Nike's going to be a pretty telling story this week. So maybe not as much Disney.
Isn't there a much bigger story with Disney with Bob Iger and Chapek there? I mean, it's nothing to do with China, but yeah. So to me, that's a much bigger situation. But I don't know how that's going to exactly affect the stock. But yeah, Disney downside here. I think it's a buy at these levels. If you want to play a reopening stock, I mean, Disney should be a name that works. So I like it. It's below the 50 period. If and when we get above there, 145. I mean, that's kind of stuff we're looking at. If you're lucky enough to get a bid down here near 130, I think that's a decent spot between 130 and 131. But hey, look, I like Disney today, obviously with only 200,000 shares. Actually, 200,000 shares at 937 isn't horrible. A 20-minute chart brings us back down here to 137. My issue today is going to be with the NASDAQ, just watching. We had, obviously, Brendan mentioned there, I put on the sticky note the best week in 2 years, but since 2020, obviously since November. What a monster week. We called that last week, and today you're coming back in a little bit. If you call up the NASDAQ here, just even on a daily chart, you'll see that move. And I still think there's a hell of a lot more to climb to the upside right here. We just dipped down to 14,000 on Friday, touched it, ripped off there all morning. That bottom of 13 to 14, that's 1,000 points there in just 4 or 5 days. It's a good move. I still think we can get back up to here. We've cleared through. I just don't want to go south of 14,000. If we do that, then maybe we retest the bottoms. But until then, we have a nice little bottom here at 14,000 on the NASDAQ. And then I want to just look long until we get below this number. But there are some names that can look short today. Rivian is going to be one of them. And Disney just not really on my radar yet.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out over the next hour or so. Some of the oil names definitely worth a watch today. I wanted to mention Meta as well. We'll talk about Meta coming up on the watch list, but big gainer last week, obviously, along with the NASDAQ. I wasn't planning on having a Chinese theme to this, but here we go. The Chinese group back on watch this morning. Baidu, Alibaba, big moves to the downside. This one, though, standing out as nicely positive here, or was trying to be anyways. Coming off of earnings, guys, they did miss, PDD, I'm speaking of, did miss quarterly results, but both their monthly active users and monthly active buyers were up significantly in this quarter on a year-over-year basis.
Yeah, look, you remember last week, like everything that found those bottoms, nothing more spectacular than the Chinese names. A bit of, like you said, mixed report, I think, for Pinduoduo. This was the one that I chose when we had that gap up day for the fade. It ended up working out, but there were certainly a million things that you could have played to. I just watched what happened on that earnings report, and we got right into the double top on Friday. I mean, that 46 is just going to stand out like a sore thumb. It's not terribly complex, right? Like you have 46, you can go all the way back to consolidation and just death down to 22, and we've doubled up since then. So, on a mixed report, I think you just almost have to play it in both directions. So I like 46 level. It's thin enough pre-market here that you'd be concerned about the spread and volume, but it's also done 4 million shares. You can't ignore that. And they got the print. So this is what I'm watching. I'm also going to be looking for, NIO's going to be in play as well, but this 46 level, it's good for a pop and fade off the morning. If it breaks out from there, I think you're looking more at the quarters and halves to be sure that it's gone. because there's room. Like if it breaks that, I mean, there's room to 48 or 50 if it does want to go. But I mean, yeah, double top. Look at it gave you $4 twice on Friday off of this level, and it looks like we're going to challenge that at 9:30. I'd much rather trade that closer to the open, however. Pinduoduo, not usually the kind of stock you want to be in 50 minutes before the market opens.
No, yeah, I mean, not with all this. Yeah, I mean, on earnings right now, I mean, I don't know what we want to be in as the market is still heading to the downside. I'm trying not to be in anything. I'm in BBIG right now. We'll talk about that. That's Vinco Ventures. But Alibaba, so, you know, again, another big mover. And I see what you guys are saying. I think it was it John something here in the chat talking about being in China there for the last 12 years. Where is it? How are you watching us if you're in China, by the way? But been here 12 years. Most major cities are shut down. Mandatory testing, everything closed. So shout out to John there. Hope you're well and safe if you're in China, obviously, with everything being shut down there. But, you know, I don't know. Alibaba should be good. I mean, they're an online, they're delivery. Alibaba, you let me know about this, John, as well, what you think of Alibaba since you're over there. But I don't know. I'm just looking at this 105 area and just seeing that, you know, we took off to 112. And where did that sort of all start at? Sure, you had a monster run off the open. Anybody got that amazing on Friday? I mean, that was great. Breaking through 100, you never looked back. It went straight up 12 bucks. But it didn't go straight up because we stopped around here at 105. So that very bottom there is 104. The reason why we're not talking about that is because 104 is right here, right now. I mean, this is, you know, with the spread, you're at 15 cents, open it up a little bit, and you're at 104. So to me, I need to take out this 105. And I think if we can take out 105 to the upside, then Alibaba starts to go again. So we'll have to watch out for that play. You can see it's made a bottom there, 73 bucks. Absolutely unbelievable. And that was on the sticky note too, this long. We have a long print in our account at $73. We may not get a better long print on any symbol, period, the rest of the year. Like that bottom of Alibaba is 73. I think we got like 73.05 or something long there on Alibaba. But we'll see if it comes back in. Right now, I like it through there. You have this level here of that 112. Maybe we break that to the upside. I don't think that happens today, but that's sort of what we're looking for. So just on a day trade, I'm looking at this 105 area here for Alibaba. I'd like to get above it and then play it as support, but it can't get above unless we break first. So let's see about a long going through there. And then just quickly, before we go back to Brendan there, see what's on the imbalance locator. NEO as a buy is a nice one. Other than that, I don't really see anything else on here. Obviously, we have to wait for NASDAQ. These are all NYSE names. NASDAQ doesn't come out until 9:25, so lots to go here. But yeah, I don't see much of interest now. The only Chinese name I see on here really is NEO that we look at. There might be some like EDUs or some small ones, but yeah, just NEO right now. And that's above 21 bucks. I mean, we can get to this as well at some point. We do have, I believe we have a guest coming on soon as well, but let's just go through NEO, a nice move up to 21, 22 bucks. This is their car week, isn't it, where they report some of their their sales and whatnot. So we'll have to wait for that. But you saw NEO was very, very active. Was my trade of the day on Friday. We shorted into this level. Let the pop happen. Short. Let it rip up. Go long. So for me, we're going to wait to see if we take out this 21.20, which was the high there on Friday. That's the trade for me for NEO. Either a break of 21.20 or we get back into this $19.50, $20 range, and then we start to go long. So a few ideas there. PDD from NEO, Baba, NEO are the names I'll be looking at.
All right, quickly, guys, on Boeing here. A couple more things coming through for Boeing. Bloomberg now saying the 737-800NG, which is the model that was involved, is considered one of the most safest aircraft ever made. There was a Cowen analyst that came out as well on Twitter saying it was impossible, quote unquote, impossible for it to be a malfunction or manufacturing problem with this plane. So that caused that spike there, went from 180 up to about 183.5. So a bit of a pop for Boeing. We'll keep an eye on this. Let's talk about oil here. We'll bring in Frank Caberna, Director of Product, Content, and Creative at the Small Exchange for discussion here to kick off a brand new week. Great to see you, Frank. Thanks for jumping on with us again. I know it's an hour earlier over in Chicago. Interesting moves here once again this morning for crude oil to start things off, as we get now news that the EU could be considering following the U.S. and banning Russian oil.
Yeah, a lot of volatility again to kick off the week here in crude oil, Brendan. And Like we talked about last week, I don't see the volatility going away, but it does feel like we've kind of put in the high in crude that one day that we traded. I think it was 2 weeks ago, close to 130. And now we're making 107 and change here this morning look cheap in crude oil. But I do think that this volatility is here to stay, and we're going to hover around 100 for a while here. You can see the projected range just for this week, given recent volatility in the crude oil market, up to about 115, down to about 90 even. And I'm going to be trading both sides of this range until crude oil breaks out to the upside or downside. Different news items, it seems like every week. I don't care so much about what the news item is itself, Brendan, but a lot of things bringing crude oil back above 100 when it descends down below those levels. And also when it gets up to those highs. I mean, I've looked through decades worth of data, Brendan, and the highest that we've hit in crude is about $145 a barrel. And so anytime we break out to that upside of 115, 120, 125, I'm going to be playing the odds on the short side. But I think it is interesting, hopefully here to the viewers on Monday morning, to see these ranges, and you can break them out also on a daily basis. I do for my scalping, my day trading uses here in crude. And you can see already at 107.30 this morning in SMO, that is the upside of Monday's range. And so I'll be trading it back and forth as it breaks out of that range, thinking that we're going to see some volatility in this market, but it'll probably hold, I think, within where we've traded the last couple of weeks here. I don't see us blowing out that 125 or necessarily getting back to, $90 or $80 crude anytime soon. But what'll be interesting as well, Brendan, is how this affects the equity markets. We've seen energy stocks really seeing a charge in the last couple of weeks, being the strongest sector, as you could imagine, with these rising crude prices here as energy comes into play more and more. But that's been the story for the last little bit, the last few months, even before the Russian-Ukrainian activity here, energy outperforming tech. I think if crude oil does fall below 90, does get back into the 80 or 70 handle, Brendan, you could see energy give back a lot of ground on those tech stocks. And what'll be really interesting is the battle of those sectors, because if you see energy give way, if you see crude oil back down below $90 at some point in the coming week or so, I think that will be viewed as an optimistic, bullish sign for the geopolitical landscape at large. And you could see tech finally start to outperform energy, which it hasn't really in the last several months here.
Yeah, you got to go where the action is. That's the whole point of having volatile markets and having these headline-driven markets, as you were saying, Frank. It's a great look for crude oil. Obviously, getting back above and holding above some key levels this morning that we saw come into play last week. Brand new week, obviously. If there's anyone joining us maybe for the first time or the first time in a while, why don't you give them just a quick rundown on this SMO contract and how it might differ from the big crude oil contract and why it might be a little more attractive for some retail investors?
Yeah, what we have here is what retail has been asking for years, is a smaller crude oil contract. It's a tenth the size of that CL contract here, Brendan. And honestly, we're looking at potentially even making a smaller one given the price action we've seen in crude, but it at least lets everyday traders, retail traders, in the door with a contract that instead of moving, every dollar's $1,000 in that CL contract, every dollar's $100. So with the market up, 375 here today in SMO, that's $375. I could look at selling that market up at about 107.30, trying to get that market to come back down to 106 even, what have you, and look to make or lose $100 on trading this market, as opposed to, like I say, thousands of dollars in that bigger traditional crude oil future. But it functions the same way, Brendan, as the crude oil that you're reading about in the headlines. The price is going to be right there with what you're looking at in the traditional futures contract or what you're reading about online. So same underlying U.S. crude oil market, Brendan, just a tenth the size of those traditional futures. All
right, let's shift gears here a little bit. The other market we saw big moves last week coming off the Fed was obviously interest rates and the U.S. dollar. We'll talk about interest rates here a little bit. The small exchange has multiple different ways you can, approach that type of trade. But we saw huge moves in both the 10-year and the 2-year. I saw back to 2% this morning. How are you approaching this week?
Yeah, if we go to the platform really quick, you can see this 2-year on its own is once again punching through highs this morning. It's actually just opened higher here, and that chart is pretty ruthless the last couple of weeks. You saw the dip in interest rates as everything dipped, Brendan, on that initial Russian invasion news in late Feb, early March. Since then, it's been one-way action in short-term rates here, now well above 2%. Again, these are all-time highs in the small 2-year product, which follows 2-year Treasury yields here. Interest rate action similar to crude oil, different stories, obviously. One is largely dictated by Putin and a lot of the geopolitical risk in Europe there. The other, a lot of U.S. action. What is the Fed saying? We have another Fed speech here from the chairperson Powell on Wednesday, and then another lesser chairperson speaking on Thursday as well. But that interest rate action is going to continue, and we're getting even closer this morning, to the potential of seeing an inverted yield curve, Brendan, which is one of those things that is not relevant until it really is. You haven't seen a lot of people talking about this online yet, but I think this is going to really come into play. This chart here that you're looking at is the difference between the 10-year and 2-year yield. It's really the benchmark that people look at, Brendan, when it comes to, is the yield curve normal, which would mean, 10 years well above 2-year yields? Is the yield curve flat, which would mean there's no difference between them? Or is the yield curve inverted, which would mean that there's negative prices, negative difference between the 10-year and 2-year rate? As you can see here, we're getting very close to 0, which would be flat, and negative, which would be inverted when you're looking at the difference between S10Y and S2Y, the 10-year and 2-year Treasury yields. And so you can monitor those yields via these futures products, Brendan, and you can trade them on their own and as spreads. If you think that curve is going inverted, then you would be selling that 10-year rate, buying that 2-year rate. If you think we're going to pick up off of these lows in this spread, you could buy that 10-year rate and sell the 2-year rate. A lot of interesting action in that yield curve as, this morning, another 6.5 basis points higher in the 2-year. But at least today, the 10-year and the 30-year yields are keeping pace. But man, there's a lot of volatility. You're talking about futures products that are moving 5, 6, 7% on a daily basis. And what's really nice about those futures products is they only demand $200, $300 in buying power, very small products to get started in interest rates, Brendan. And this is, in my mind, the best time in years to be looking at interest rates and potentially starting to trade them.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had that inversion. We were speaking last week briefly there. 2008, I believe, was the last time that's actually happened. So as you mentioned, all kinds of volatility as short-term traders got to take advantage. It's going to be an exciting week. We'll let you get back to it. Frank Caberna, Director of Product, Content, and Creative at The Small Exchange. Check out thesmallexchange.com, guys. Thanks so much, Frank.
Thanks, Brendan.
There we go, guys. A few interesting ideas once again. Going into a new week. We'll see how this plays out this week. But oil markets, here we go again.
Oh yeah, look, volatility is not going anywhere. It's like Frank said, right? And everyone wants to be playing in oil because that's where the moves are. Yeah. I think from an equity standpoint, you know how we sort of look at things here, like whether it's Occidental, XOM. That's a lot of the times what we're going to be looking to trade. And sort of worth noting, I don't want to say Oxy's slowed down or anything, but only up at that 3%, and it's finally gotten into a range of consolidation. I want to show you on the 15-minute chart. Like, this has calmed down for Oxy, but this 59 level here, we get further breakout in oil futures. You get to the top end of that range, and you start looking for like that 59 break, and that's got the most room, at least into the upside. Otherwise, you're waiting for dips into the low 50s. But if we're not watching the 59 on Oxy this week, then from an equity standpoint, not sure what else is there. I know the $5 scalp trade has been pretty good off of resistance levels in Chevron, but this week I'm looking at Oxy 59s.
Yeah, I was going to talk about also maybe a return to XLE here as well, but my charts aren't loading up. So I went XLE.AX, so that's going to be a mistake. I don't know, whatever that is, 18%. But we'll wait to see what's going on here. But look, I think oil's still. We switch over to the contract now. K22, you know, rallying over $100 makes a lot of sense right here. I think that could be the, you know, the sort of the peg that we're looking at between 100 and 130 for a bit. So we'll have to keep watching XLE. I think that's the best one, or OIH. Get into the oil holders, Brendo.
Yeah, going to be a volatile week once again for energy markets. This is the board this morning. As you can see, there's not a heck of a lot on it. It's worth mentioning Tesla had a price target change. Some of the Chinese stocks had a price target change. BlackBerry back on here. Separate news for BlackBerry this morning, but Royal Bank with an upgrade there, guys.
Just quickly, yeah, everyone loving Frank. So by the way, yeah, look, super smart dude. We're very, very happy to have him part of the Trader TV Live, you know, guest lineup for sure, because some of that stuff that he spits out there is hot fire. But okay, so here's the oh God, still not loading. I thought it loaded there, but XLE did take a little bit of a dive last week, and I just feel like you got to still be in these names. Here's the daily chart on eSignal here, and just because I don't know why it's not loading on mine. Is it not in the Amex? It should be, but there it is right there from 77, 78 bucks. Took a dip down into 71, 72, and today you're going to open back up 74, 75. So you're right in the middle here. I love this consolidation down here, 67 and change. I just prefer this. If I could buy any oil name, it would be Chevron. Again, well, not if I could, but you know, if you needed some exposure in this space, there Chevron continues to work. Big name in the oil patch, obviously, with their big dividend, their big buyback, not the oil patch, but the big dividend and the big buyback here. I don't know. It's Monday morning, and like CVX.NY. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with this. Charts right now not being nice.
I'll be honest with you. Like, actually, the charts I'm showing you guys are loading up fine, but my one look upside is killing me. But I'll throw Chevron up there just so you can quickly see. But you know, it's had a great run on it. It's pulled back into a lower consolidation range. That's why I like Oxy just a little bit better off that 59. You sort of look at, if Chevron were to break 165, it goes right into chop from like the 14th, whereas it's more clear sailing to the highs on the 59 break in something like an Occidental. Just noting BlackBerry on that upgrade list. I went over to check to see if there was any volume on it. There isn't. It's only worth mentioning because, you know, BlackBerry was in that group of, I guess, meme names, and every now and then you get those squeezes and it might run, but only up that 4%, a couple of 100,000 shares. So for now, nothing to see on that upgrade. But like everything else, it's up in the last couple of sessions, and up nicely as a matter of fact, but I don't think it's not outpacing any of those other depressed names, and not a heck of a lot of volume here today. Although I did note 7 looks like pretty good support. It'll be at least somewhat on the radar. It's back on my quote board at least.
I was just double checking Microsoft here, guys. There's not a lot of movement here, I guess, but there was mention there of Microsoft on a Vice report, an extortion-focused hacking group that has previously compromised massive companies, apparently targeting Ubisoft, NVIDIA, and possibly Microsoft systems. So there was a downtick there when that came out around $2.99 for Microsoft. But again, that was a Vice report talking about possible data breach maybe there for a few bigger names.
Buy the dip. I mean, I shouldn't say buy the dip because it didn't really move that much, right? So you're off that 300 level anyways in Microsoft. It's sort of worth keeping an eye on. But the truth of the matter is, you're just going to follow the overall market with this bad boy. And I look at this, I guess, sideways consolidation where you really broke on Friday, and that's really in that low 290s range for something like a softie. There's a few other names that on dips look a little bit more enticing to me. I was looking at Tesla 900. There's AMD 110 as well. There's Facebook, I think it was 208 on Facebook. So there's a lot of things that look really juicy for if they were to come back in. Maybe that headline moves this. I'm just not entirely sure that it's going to be too big of a move there in Microsoft. I wanted to point one thing out before we go a little bit too far away from it. Mullen starting to pull back. So This one, obviously last week, it's been a huge runner, right? So in the last couple of days, it's been fantastic opportunities to that upside. I was looking at $4, obviously, because that's a round number for resistance. But if you have a check at where support was on Friday afternoon, this 280 to 3 area looks pretty juicy. If it does want to fall back into that range, I think Mullen might be a little interesting dip buy. And it just broke through that 340. The only reason I'm bringing it up now is because it just broke that 340. A lot of times that's a trade I'd have to the short side. I'm kind of thinking dip buys and short those bigger levels on Mullen, at least until the open anyways.
So we were already looking here. I like both Facebook and Microsoft here on the sticky note today. Look to get back in on any dip sort of buys here, opportunities anyways. Microsoft, I like the 296 level. And then Facebook, we like the 212 to 213. So this is on the sticky note. You can see why we like them and look at some of the levels for yourself there. Remember, trade your own book, obviously. But here on Microsoft, on the 20-minute chart, comes back down into this 296 area. That's where we sort of started the move on Friday. So today's Monday. Let's see if it can extend out a little bit more. Obviously, on that data breach, this may affected. Apparently, it's the same kind of job that was done on NVIDIA here, Ubisoft. So, kind of just the run of the mill, but still not great for their security levels. I canceled my bids on this name, but still, I really like this 292, 294, even 296. Let's see if we do get a dip in. But remember what the NASDAQ is doing? It's coming off right now, coming back in. So this could be a negative day, and we don't want to be buying anything right off the open. I mean, Microsoft had a huge, we got one move in, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do today again. So where is it? It's right down here. We wait for this to dip down. We get a 294.70, 295, rip it all the way up, get out 295.80 before Microsoft just took off the rest of the afternoon. And we held one last piece and got it out there at 297.60. So long at 295, out 297.60. That's $2.50. We'll look to do the same kind of play now if Microsoft dumps back in. Like, we waited for it to dump in on Friday. Why couldn't it happen again? Here, 296 is going to be the first level. So actually, now that I look at this, I think we can probably do it. Let's just lower our shares. We'll take some 296s, and then maybe we do flow back in here to 294, and then the ultimate bottom is this 292. But we'd have to have, in my opinion anyways, a decent move down here in the NASDAQ, like down that 1.5%, 2%, something like that, before we see a 292. And that's not likely. That could easily happen. We're coming off the biggest week since 2020 there in November. So this is a definite possibility that we do see some of these lower levels here on Microsoft, which brings me over, and we'll just talk quickly about Facebook here. I don't know if we have Arun today. I think we do. It looks like we do. So I don't want to be too long here. But Facebook, the same kind of thing. I know Neil was looking a little bit lower. I still love that. I mean, that 208 would be fantastic. It's just if we're going to start something, I was talking about here on Facebook to get into this 212, 213 area, this is 213 bottom, and then that's 212. So it's kind of just where we started on Friday. So let's see if some of these names do pull back in. The NASDAQ's coming in, and no better time to check with Arun, I think.
Yeah, monster day for a lot of these on Friday. Let's bring in Arun, get his take on what to expect both today and coming up this week, maybe as we head into a brand new week, Arun. I mean, we're coming off a little bit, but still holding up nicely.
Yeah, the trend is holding up fairly well. Is this going to be day 3 of the extension? That remains to be answered, because what we've had in the last couple of days, Thursday, Friday, after we got going on the rally, is pretty much sideways open, and then sideways into the open, and then we get a pop off the open, and we continue all day. And we have that for 2 days now. The market looks like it wants to try another day of this. I mean, at what point do we get exhausted? Let the market tell you, right? In terms of levels, we're kind of clearing levels in such a way where we can't put new ones in. So all the resistance levels that we're taking out, we're not putting in support levels to work with them. So the only ones I've got left are 43.50 to the downside. That's the closest one I've got, is 43.50 to the downside. And then 4,500 is a resistance level. That's the next one up. Let's see if that one holds. So a couple options here. If we take out the high north of 44.65 and we get a failure with a decent setup, then you go for the short against the 4,500, and maybe we get that claw back down. Or if we just fall off here, then you have that 43.50 to work with to find a support base and find a long in there. But I mean, the way we're moving up, it's not exactly the best possible scenario for continually trading to the upside, because you can't keep chasing it and without putting new levels in. So we're going to have to wait and be a little bit more patient. It seems, at least today. Thursday, Friday was great. Today, the way it's moving around, it's not helping you in any way in terms of finding new levels to work with to the upside. So we're just going to work with the 4,500 up top and the 43.50 down below.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Good points right across the board in that, not a lot to go with as far as the way some of these markets are setting up this morning, including some of the individual stocks. That is the link to the morning note that we send out every single morning before we come on at 8:30. Absolutely free, guys, if you want that. Miss V will help you out with the link in the chat. Keeping my eye on Boeing here because we're trying to test that pre-market high that it just put in once again. Again, a few kind of reports, if you want to call them that, on Twitter suggesting that this may not, in fact, be anything to do with the airplane or the manufacturing of the airplane. So here we go back to the upside for Boeing. But if you missed it, yeah, there was a crash in southern China of a Boeing 737-800. NG, I believe, is the extension on the end of that plane. But here we go, back higher again. Again, the initial report was from a couple of analysts suggesting that it was definitely not a manufacturing default or anything of that nature, but we'll see with Boeing.
I mean, that's why, Brendan, I started the show basically by saying that it's not on my radar at all because we didn't know that kind of stuff. Now, maybe the fact that, it doesn't look like it's going to be service related here. It's not like, the plane malfunctioned again. It could be driver error. I mean, at this point, we don't know. It could be the environment. I mean, apparently it was in the mountains, things like that. And look, I mean, I know that we're sort of prone to these experiences with Boeing, unfortunately, and hearing these stories and then thinking the worst. I think it's a screaming buy opportunity, at any level, to be honest with you. I really like Boeing. And, if and until then we find out that there's more issues with the planes. But, I mean, Boeing on a dip down here. We were remember on Friday, we went long 190 because we were up here. And I thought we were breaking above this 190 level on Boeing. And therefore, the next leg was to the upside. This is a gift down here. I mean, if you can get this for, again, down to 170, 172, I mean, they have a virtual monopoly on the business, and I like it. I like the name. I think it's a solid dividend. It's solid everything. We've seen them, make a big, huge move, and, unfortunately, I don't think my charts are going to load as fast as I want them to, but, the bottom of this name was 100, and you're going to get it back down here, back in March, right here, when the government came in. And again, we had a different government. We had a different president, everything back when Boeing was really, really struggling and making some of these new lows, stepping in there and talking about funding for Boeing and whatnot. So I really feel like the bottom in Boeing is somewhere in here, whether or not you get more. I mean, unfortunately, just to say, the only thing really that can bring this down, in my opinion anyways, would be more of these plane issues. And I feel like that those are going to be solved, if not solved already. So down into here is a really good safety net for Boeing, like 140, 150. And obviously where we're at right now, 180, you don't want to talk about seeing your stock go down to 150. But again, it's been holding out pretty decently. The trend is still way down. Like I said, I thought this break right here of 190 that we saw on Friday was a pretty cool indicator for them to start to head back up to the upside now. But, you get a nice little dump down. I mean, I can't believe someone traded down to 179. But again, it makes sense with algorithms coming through. I like Boeing today, but I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to let this name breathe for a day or two, get the news out of the way and then trade Boeing. So for me, no, I don't want to be in a stock that's, if you're going to trade it with smaller shares, fine. And you think you got the price action, that's cool. If you want to invest in this name, I think that is cool as well. But just to put on some shares here where, you could be rocking to the upside, then all of a sudden a report could be false, could be accurate, comes out that there was something wrong with one of the engines or something like that, and then the next thing you know, you're in trouble, or vice versa, the other way, you're short thinking there's nothing, and then boom, it rips up to the upside because they get the all clear. So for me, Boeing, you trade the price action, and I just feel like I have a better read on other names that aren't so news data driven right now.
I'd be shocked. I mean, I definitely would be shocked if anything definitive came on day one. So we're not gonna know anything, and analysts can say anything they want, but I mean, until you actually know what went on, that takes an investigation. But I just look right at the price action of 185 to 190 in here, and that's for a couple of days. They had the breakout on Friday and held above that range. You're gapping now below it, and I look in there and say, okay. One day after a crash, it had price acceptance when it had the gap up from 170 right in that range. It gets there, and I think that's where I want to be shorting it. plain and simple, right? So if that's where there was a nice consolidation on good volume for a couple of days, I had trouble chewing through there, then we know that 85 and 90 can be good zones for us. I mean, there will probably still be some headlines throughout the day today, but these investigations take time, obviously, and the true story is that obviously there's a human aspect to this that we don't want to ignore, but we're here to watch the markets and watch the moving markets. Just worth noting, NEO was actually making some power moves here. I don't know if we covered that one, but it just broke out. Load. Just broke out through the highs at 21. I just wanted to quickly point out, there we go, this. If you look at the last time it got up here, right around like $22 is when it fell off to start the month. So it's starting to head into that overhead resistance, but it's a bit of a jailbreak happening on here on NEO. Pinduoduo got to that 46 level as well, but with 910, I want that one only after the open, but NEO on the run here.
Welcome everyone who just joined us. Again, welcome to the brand new week. And I remind you, please smash the like button and help us get at least 1K likes before the open. Let's continue with Brandon.
Yeah, let's jump into Tesla here, guys. NEO on the list this morning as well. It's worth mentioning, they actually came out, guys, and said, unlike everybody else, they're not and have no plans on raising prices. So positivity possibly for NIO. They also talked about some supply chain issues that could cost them more. Tesla here, though, count them, could be 5 days in a row back to the upside here. We're holding nicely above 900, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah, big move up for Tesla there. I'm just sending my sticky note here in the chat. Someone's asking about it there. Tether, there it is. I just sent you the link right now. Yeah, look, Tesla, big week last week. And I was like, the only time you really got to buy this thing is if you're near that 800, 750 level. Well, it got to that last week for sure. Tesla did to the downside. I mean, it's been there for a little bit, hovering around. I mean, that 750 was a great bottom, but, easy to say, pick up the bottom. But, you hovered around this 800 a little bit as well, where you dipped into there on the 15th and you came back on the 16th. And then since then it was like, boom, 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 all the way up to the upside here. Elon Musk just seems to be having everything going his way right now. The market's going to the upside there. Starlink obviously has nothing to do with Tesla, but that's, making some moves there with Ukraine. Tesla, a nice little move to the upside. They also announced pricing increases, but like we thought, that was going to be a no-brainer that people would sort of just shrug that one off. I think they have the pricing power right now. Tesla, nice little move to the upside. I mean, again, you could go long right now and just kind of hold on to it. You're kind of barcoding into this area. A dip down below 915 right here signals, a break of the pre-market. I only put the pre-market back to 7 o'clock. You can trade on other gateways, 4 a.m. I just don't want to waste space on the chart here, to be honest with you. So we'll wait up here to 915, a little dump down through, especially if this market fades out. I think Tesla's a name that could go easily back down to the downside. It is more aggressive than the market right now, so if you're looking for relative strength, it would be in Tesla, and I would much rather hit the long through 925 than the short through 915. You just got to sort of wait to see what this market gives you. But heading into the close, for some reason, this kind of barcoding action happened right here at 900, and then it also bounced around 900 at the close when we had quad witching. We had a lot of action going through on Friday, and it was just kind of strange that we held up pretty nice. Not strange. I mean, it makes sense. Tesla's a well-run, well-loved company, but still holding 900 seemed to be something there on Tesla. So if this thing dips anywhere near low 9s, 910, 908, something like that into these closes, I think that Tesla's a buy at those levels, especially if you do get a little flush down in the market. So we'll look at Tesla. For me, I think NEO's a little more interesting because you can use more shares and it's really ripping upside. But right now, Tesla definitely on watch back down here to 900. And then if you really want to get jiggy with it and the market just takes off, then I don't think you'd be upset taking a pre-market break of 925.
Yeah, I mean, last week's 900 was sort of like that. It ran into that price and then gave you some good shorts off of it. So I think it has to be some tested as support this week. On the daily, just overhead 950 is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Like now that we're through that 880 range, you can see an even bigger level looms at 950 for Tesla. So it gets to that price. That's going to be the turnaround for any kind of a long opportunity on Tesla for me.
All right, let's continue along here. Well, we talked to Frank about the oil markets and volatility returning this morning. If you missed the headline, the EU possibly considering to make a move similar to the U.S. in putting on some Russian oil embargoes. So that has oil up 4% here this morning. Interesting note, the first time throughout the main rally that we saw over the past month or so in oil, we had a whole bunch of small cap, little tiny energy stocks running along with oil. Not seeing that so much this morning, but it is the bigger names that are positive here with this move today.
I wonder if that has anything to do with IMPP's offering and they're down 40% on it. I have no idea, but I know, I think you're talking about like INDO, and some of those others. And look, it's not that those aren't going to be traded. It's when they have moves, fine, fair enough. We'll be all over them. But, I'm going to be watching Oxy, like we mentioned. And I just go back to this 15-minute chart. And for those of you that weren't here sort of the beginning of the show, I just look at this 59 area, had a hard rejection of 59 on Occidental. And if that gets taken out, I'm looking for the long trade. Now, the other side of that equation is keeping in mind, and Sean mentioned it, I'll double down. If you haven't changed your oil futures contracts over to the K, then you should make sure you do that. But usually you want to make sure you're making a break as well on the higher time frame. So you look at this, it's not a huge level, but we're already sort of above on oil futures, the significant levels around this 107, but you'd like to see us at least breaking out, this morning's high. So if we're not taking out this 108, then I don't really love that Oxy 59, but I don't see any way that doesn't happen. You're already consolidating up near this top. It's more likely that if we get to 59 on Oxy, that you're trying to take out this 110, 111 area on oil futures. So that's what I'll be looking out for. I would hate to make that punch when you are beneath and still testing that resistance. You almost would prefer it if you're breaking out, but with Oxy, sometimes it hasn't really mattered all that much given the momentum in that name.
Yeah, look, oil's been pretty hot. I mean, like I'm glad that Neil mentioned that, the CL chart there, changing over to the K. Frank crushed it. So if you want to just rewind, honestly, rewind this show to about like 8:45, you can hear Frank from the small exchange absolutely just motoring on that one. XOM has been a good call lately for anybody to get involved into that name. Ripped up there, had a nice high. You're back down here to $80, just bouncing around 80, up 1.35%. This name continues to work. You did get a nice little dump down here into $76. Now a big bump up here. 82 seems like where we may want to settle for XOM. But again, we're through earnings, and now all we can really do is wait to see what happens with oil. But look at it bouncing off the 50 period rate here. This is very much what we like to see. 50 period rate where support is at. So you get this 75 number. You can go back here sort of before oil dumped like crazy, and then we had some awesome buy opportunities when, of course, oil went negative. Back down in here as well, back down to $32 for XOM. What a treat that was. But again, even if you go back to like sort of not a perfect world, but pre-COVID sort of levels, we were up here 86, 87, 88. So I feel like these could be some nice little tops for XOM. I don't ever want to call a top on oil right now. There are some people, pundits, and different analysts out there that are calling 150 on oil right now. Obviously, you're up to 107, 108, and just kind of moving around. Look, if Putin doesn't get his way with Ukraine, which it doesn't look like he's going to, then yeah, oil could start to rip even higher and higher than this, let alone if China gets involved in any way into this war. So yeah, I'm a little concerned about the price of oil, and I think you got to stay long any of your oil names. Look, I trimmed out AbbVie. I mean, I don't know why I did. Looking at this now, wow, what the hell, 159, okay. So I got some out of this one at 148, and I sort of regretted it off of last week's break. I didn't even realize we were up to 160, but oil is not a name that we're going to trim. So when you're in a name like an XLE, like I'm in the equivalent over here in Canada, I think you just stay the course and you just wait for some of these tops to keep getting hit. You got to have exposure to oil right now, and I think now, honestly, is a decent opportunity. It ripped up to 130. We danced around 96, 97, and now you're back to 107. I would pick up some sort of exposure in the oil patch, and why not just go with an ETF? Therefore, you're not overly, sensitive to individual names.
AbbVie, impressive there. I was just noticing BMY looking very, very similar, basically right back to highs as well this morning. There was an FDA note on a cancer treatment for Bristol Myers, but let's go on to Facebook. Positive note, by the way, for BMY. Facebook among the leaders as far as strength on Friday. There was a couple of minor headlines this morning, one coming out of Russia as far as a extremism case that had been filed against them, but nothing too significant, but holding near that high from Friday.
Yeah, definitely near the highs from Friday. The reason I love that 208, and on Mondays, I like to write levels down, not just for the day, but for the week as well, so that I can keep them on watch. And the 208 for Facebook was just, if you look on Friday, like that's sort of like a double top breakout price. So you get back to that resistance and it makes sense. On the daily, it is breaking out on the daily chart, right? So like a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, let's go southbound. Everything's up a little bit too far. But you got to start thinking about the fact that you're still breaking out of this daily level at about that 213. So if it's above that price, it's still kind of strong, and ooh, I just got into so I think that's what 213 is one that I know Sean's looking at. I just got into PIK, so I'm gonna maybe quickly pivot to this stock. PIK, if you remember on Friday, 680 was the afternoon high. So it made it run up to 750, saw it plunge, and then made a 680 top. And I was talking with some people in the chat earlier, and I said I like dip buys better in that 530, 540 range where you found support and then pre-market support here. It tried to make the break at 680. I didn't like it because the overhead resistance is 750. So 680 being the level, I just shorted it when it broke that. I'll give it to the high of the day, which is only 720, and then maybe test it off the top. But PIK, one that we traded in the afternoon show. I think also we traded in the morning as well, but back on watch here. I think it did make the watch list just at the bottom. Of course, I actually didn't watch the release of the cheaper by the dozen, which is where the news was for this name, partnering with a Disney there. So I have no idea how good it was or how bad it was, but that was the news story last week for them.
There's some talk here just on the chat about Shopify. So yeah, why it's going to be down? It looks like it's going to be down that 9% again. It's not that it was. It's just like, you know, you had, and again, it's not. You know, there was a big print, but it's not that. It's just, you know, you had a big print in New York here. This is Shopify.ny. There was some imbalance here on New York. So you did get a nice move up here, sorry, this is the time, 15. So 3 o'clock, 670, 675, 680, 690, and then it closed around 687, and then it printed up here at 720. And then for some reason, I don't know why our quotes, this doesn't make any sense to me because we're not supposed to be using D prints up here. Like that to me would be the only reason why you're down 9%. So if your system is saying that, it's because it's using this D print that didn't exist. Like you don't have that many shares up here, like 70,000. So I don't know what's going on with that, but Shopify is just another one of those names here that's been absolutely woodshedded here over and over again. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yahoo Finance is using that ridiculous price too.
Yeah, so I think that's why a lot of you guys are asking. So it's not, I don't know where that 780 comes from there. Yahoo Finance using that print, but that's a big one. And if that's the closing price they're using, then you're going to get this minus 9%. So when you see that come through on Shopify, that's not the story at all. The bottom was 500. You're now making a move up. I've invested in this name. I think I'm long. Like I don't know what the price is in Canada, but I think oops, it's not. That's my e-signal name. I think it was around. I think I started buying this like around 1,100, and then made another average in around 750 or so. So I'm going to find out what my average price is, but I actually don't like this name and want to get out of it. Shopify, I don't think it's the right environment, obviously, for them. A lot of competition in your own website build. And then it's just their margins are going to get squeezed, right? Like the percentages that they take from executions on the website, now that you're getting Apple Pay in there, PayPal, Square, a lot of the different pay opportunities there. I just wonder what Shopify's next play is. I don't know if they're a buyout candidate or not, maybe even down in some, like at these valuations, maybe. But again, I sort of wonder if their bet is kind of made. And if you weren't into Shopify early and or took something out up here, then you may want to look at this name like between 1150 and 1250. So I am reevaluating. This is a name that's on my sort of watch list here for what to do next. So I'm looking at my Shopify position, and obviously I'm not even sure of the price that I have. So this is not one of the names that I'd be buying on a dip. And I could regret this. I mean, Shopify could be 1,1500. I mean, a big Canadian name here. Obviously us being here in Canada trying to support them. But again, I'm not just going to light my money on fire. I pay enough in taxes as it is. So we'll wait to see here what's going on with Shopify. But into this 11-12 area, I think I like it as a sell.
All right, let's go on to some of these Chinese stocks we mentioned briefly early on this morning. If you joined us, let's revisit, guys, the PDD, Pinduoduo story. Again, earnings. We have NIO with its own headline. NIO coming out saying they're not raising prices, similar to some of their competitors, but they did point to supply chain issues, maybe costing them. in this quarter and going forward. But nice move back to the upside here for Pinduoduo off earnings as well.
Yeah, it's like you said, it was a bit of a mixed report, but you had the growth where I think people want to see it for that type of retailer. But look, it's come so far, and we talked about this, the Chinese name, double up for them off the bottom. So like it's one of the more impressive ones. But that 46 level, I didn't want to wait till closer to the open to make any trades there, but it did make a slight break of 46, put in a 46.3 high. I like this level for both directions, and you can sort of see here, like if it gets through this, there's runway to 50, 48 to 50 at least in that channel. So as much as I do like shorting off this because of the risk to reward, I am willing to reverse this trade. So I am on the offer now, trying to get 45.5 or so at the open. If it breaks that high, I'm going to look to reverse into a long and just think it's a bit of a jailbreak at that point. And the first target would be about that 48 level. But Pinduoduo is the one for me that I want to go back to the well and keep trading. Baba's moving as well, but today PDD also gives you the report to give it an extra catalyst.
Yeah, exactly. We like PDD. We like them all. Let's just take a quick look here at the imbalances just to see if anything changed, because it is now 925. So TQQQ, that's just the inverted there of the NASDAQ. So that's not going to be anything there. Ooh, that's too many Qs. I put the wrong Q in my screen there just to see what was going on with it. Siri with a big one. Pfizer. There's your Oxy. Yeah, that's the ProShares Trust. Yeah, Ultra Pro QQQ. So you could see that's going to be an exciting one. It's not the inverse, sorry. It's just the more aggressive name to the upside, TQQ. RIG, Sen is right there. Someone asked about Sen. I don't know. I have to find out what's going on with that name. We'll find out for some news. Why am I in BBIG? Well, yeah, it's probably a good question. You do have $3 here. It's just a name that, well, where's my minute chart? Oh, see, my charts are closing on me. There it is right here. So we've averaged into this. I just look at this $3 bottom. I mean, obviously that's 292 right there. It's a name that's well talked about. It's 5 million shares. It's Vinco Ventures. We've seen this rip up before, obviously on big volume days. So let's just see if this is another one. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. You're above the 50 period. So I'm just kind of taking a shot. We came in, there wasn't a whole hell of a lot going on. Now the NASDAQ's kind of creeping back up, but I still feel the same way. Not much happening. I like Vinco Ventures back down into that 250 area. So if we come back in and fade into, where we were on Friday, fine. We're going to be wrong on this play to the long side, but we're going to average into it. So if this thing drops back down into like 260 or so, then we'll take one more fill, and then we'll just use this bottom of like 245 or so as our out. And we've been burned on these before. It's just, let's just take a shot here with low volume coming through on the day today so far. I'm going to trade 5 million shares. We'll trade Vinco Ventures, see if it gets going to the upside. And again, it's just a social media pump. I'm not pumping it, but I'm long, and we're just playing off some of these $3 levels. Let's see if it explodes to the upside. That trade there at 10, we actually just took that as a test to get our quotes back going. And then right there at 299, these are the real fills that we want. So let's see, we're long at 05s here on Vinco.
Decent short percent on that one as well for BBIG. Remember that, guys. Mullen, let's talk about Mullen. Right at session highs right now, guys, trying to move back to the upside. This thing has room to 420 possibly to the upside. We'll look at 320 and then 3 on the way back down from Friday. Remember, huge day on Friday. There was also support down here around 285. So 323, 285. We'll buy it all the way back into that for Mullen, guys.
Yeah, so on our notes, 22%. And look, I understand if you look at FinViz, it'll say like maybe 18, but we get ours from Icon Terminal, and they're in the ballpark, 18 or 22. That's a big short interest.
Need those gloves today.
With 90 seconds to go. You're right about that. Like, my hands are already cold too, Sean. I just got into Pinduoduo. I talked about that little fade off of that high, so 45.50. Was able to get, look, at this time of day, will I take scalps out of 44 and then 42.5, 43? For sure. We're going to take a couple of bucks out of it when our stop is less than $1 higher. PIK made a bit of a move there. Tried to roll over. We had that 680. Got a bid in front of 660. Someone just got on the bid in front of 660. I was going to be taking 650s anyways, so a little bit out there. I do have my stop in ready to go on that one with about 90 seconds to go here, guys. That Mullen, you saw that already trying to break out there. I did want to quickly point this out. I know you mentioned Rivian for short, up a bit higher, but if Rivian gets through this, 46.25. Looks like a pretty good level, and it's setting up for a breakout, multi-level breakout for Rivian. There's clear resistance if it gets a little higher than that, but nice consolidation for Rivian. I'm going to wait until we actually have an opening print for this. I already have a couple of shorts on. With 30 seconds to go, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Miss V on the bell on this Monday morning. Should be a good one as the market gets going. And if you're watching that Boeing, just as I was looking back at it, I have my offer in front of 190, just in case we get back into the top end of that channel where it was holding pretty nicely to end last week. With all that run down, we are now ready to drop the countdown, making sure it's working. Ms. V is on the bell. We're going to get locked and loaded and ready to go here for you guys to start this one off. I see Tony in the house. 3, 2, and 1.
There
Ring
he is.
it.
Yeah.
Who's that one?
Tony got the headphones on. It means he's making some serious trades
he's
here.
not messing around.
Yeah, he's not messing around right now. Okay, so we're gonna wait to see. No, I'm just joking. Someone said that I mentioned 5 million shares. That's the volume on BBIG, not the amount of volume I'm trading. But okay, Bubba coming back down in. I was debating this long here into the 102. Let's just see if we can get something, and then we're just gonna use the 100 as our base. But you can see right now, not even open, printing 102.50s right now. Alibaba, let's see. But the market's coming back in. I'm actually going to scratch that. Let's just check out Microsoft. I'm not into anything yet, Neil, so if you are too. Okay, there we go. We are now into Facebook. Facebook just dropped down to 213. This is a level that we're going to see if we can hold. So we're long Facebook now, 213.20, right into this level. This is kind of what we wanted to see off the open, but we are still looking lower here as the market's a wild one. So watch out for this 211, 212 here on Facebook.
Yeah, this PIK tried to make a break through $7
dollar.
and immediately starting to come back into the downside. So watching that run here, Pinduoduo went $1 in the money and then $1 out. I need more than $1. That stock's going to move.
Yeah, we just took $1 right there on Facebook. So yeah, let's go on that one. A quick little in and out there on FB. Long there at 213.20, out at 214.08. So sorry, 90 cents there on Facebook. And again, we're just like what Neil just said, man. These things are moving around. So we're not going to sit here and watch $1 just flash in front of us on Facebook. We'll take out a third only, but we are looking for bigger moves here. So that's that into those levels, 212. I'm just looking for some more bids here. I don't want to get off of names. 211.50 looks like a drop spot there if we do come all the way back down. So Facebook right now we're watching it as the Microsoft and the market starting to take off a bit here.
Yeah, Mullen tries to break the high. It just goes through 360 and is immediately starting to reverse here. So I'm looking at that first support level. I like 280 to $3 a heck of a lot better. But if we can hold the pre-market lows, I'm going to jump in and see if we can't take a little bit of this here on Mullen. 335 it's at right now. I just got first target on Pinduoduo, so that one looks good. But that PIK on the other hand, oh goodness, I should have just crossed the bid there. That PIK on the other hand, going the other direction. It actually came down, tried to hit 650. Still hasn't broken that 720. That's where the stop is going to be for me. But watch that one start to run. Pinduoduo, which I just mentioned, we'll do a little bit of this one, as it does give you that first, just over $1 for the first win. And then I'm looking for this 43.5 to 44 channel for the next leg out. As I mentioned, I did just get into Mullen. You saw it get right into this level here, that 330, 335, pre-market bounce, and then trying to catch a bit of a bid. So I grabbed 37s here. I will scalp some of this out. That was a harsh enough, maybe harsh isn't the right word, but that was a strong enough rejection off the top that you want to be at least a little bit careful with that, because that's a wick off top at the open. So if we are going to hold this level, great, but I'm definitely going to be scalping some out in front of that 360 high.
Okay, spin it. Right now, a nice little $2 in the money on Alibaba. We just took that one as well. So Alibaba right there off that 102.40 level. We were bidding 102.20. We could have had those, but we're going to watch Alibaba just continue to rip faces off right now. $1.80, $2 now in the money on Alibaba. We are going to go long 105 as well. Nice strength there in the Chinese name. So let's take a little piece out here, 104.80 or so, if we can get that on Alibaba. We're just going to take that out. Let's go, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just put offer enter up here. 104.60 or so. If we can get that, we'll take it. Okay, here we go. Facebook making that move back down here. So we'll watch Alibaba rip to the high side, and then we'll average into this Facebook. This is that level that we were just talking about. It's not going to look good on this one. Down into here, this 211.50 or so. We just take a 212 print. So let's watch out for Facebook and hope that that one can get its move back up, get its mojo going here, Facebook.
Oh, we'll hit one of these ones for the green action on Mullen. It breaks out in a big way there through 360. Am I going to cover shares at 375 every single time? You guys know what happens around here because I said $4 is the level I'm looking to short. Can't be short if you're long. So if we get to $4, we'll be all out of Mullen. But the dip buy does work here. I would have loved 280 to 3, but if it doesn't give it to you, it found support. We talked about that. But here comes Pinduo Duo. I think this is its chance. If it breaks through this, can definitively 44. I'm going to get some more shares out, but you could be seeing a 40 print on Pinduo Duo. I believe Brendan?
All right, guys, metal prices starting to go back to the upside in a big way this morning. Here goes U.S. Steel off earnings last week, but back higher again this morning. So not a red candle yet for X, guys.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, Alibaba, man, we just took right there 102.40 out 106.80, 106.70. So that's $2.30 right there, clean on Alibaba as well. And you want to talk about clean? Check out BBIG right now. What a rip to the high side right now. Let's see if we can get something out on this one, man. We're trading small caps, mid caps, everything here, large caps. As one large cap name coming back in right now is Facebook one more time down to 211. Look at the NASDAQ taking off. We could be wrong on this name, that's fine. We did talk about this being worn down here, still going to the downside here for Facebook. So it looks like any other long would have been good, but you have that 210 area. I don't want to hold it into 210. It's down that 2.2% and moving downside when the market's ripping upside. So definitely not a good take here for Facebook so far, but it's getting flushed down. Maybe the other big cap tech names are something that we're going to have to watch out for as Microsoft's kind of, oh, that's a daily chart. Let's see. Oh, the 1 minute is nasty on this one as well, just dancing around here. So market going up. I don't know what NASDAQ names are strong here, but it's not the ones I'm looking at. Thank you.
I mean, it is a strange one, right? Like a lot of the things I'm looking at are kind of have been weak at least, but Rivian finally broke that 43.25. I did get first leg in there and another position, and it's like, usually I don't have this many, but Occidental just came in. Oh, please load here. That 59 level that we're looking for the break just came in on Occidental, so I just grabbed along on Oxy. I can tell you that PIK is starting to fall off. That's that short we had. Starting to load, starting to fall off. I got one leg 650 out, now looking for 630s. That's a 680 short that we have on here. So that is working out rather nicely. Look, I know there's a lot of things moving here, but you know, DD, I've chosen Pinduo Duo for the short trade. So that's what I'm going to be working with the Chinese names. I just like the fact that they had their earnings. It's still looking like it's trying to reject that pre-market high, but hasn't really flushed just yet.
Yeah, no, we actually got that 105 break on Alibaba, and that seems like we always talk about trading those breaks, man. I mean, it's like sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. We took a little bit off of that pressure there at 104.20, but you're seeing now, like it's just the market's coming to the downside. I feel like the play is going to be at some point short today. So, holding on to some of these just don't feel right. We'll take out another piece of Alibaba right here at 96.97. If we can get it, there it is as it rips back up. Now we can hold the rest. We're actually out of Alibaba. We gave back some of that rip that we had there from that bottom. But again, it's like staying patient, you know, like that was the key take there on this name. As it comes back up, I'm going to get out of one more piece now into the 30s on Alibaba. If it takes out 105, great. I mean, I still have way higher expectations. It's just, if this market fails, I don't think we want to be long these Chinese names. I mean, it's going to be a flight to higher quality, I feel like, if the market moves to the downside, which is why we hold on to our Facebook. And we should have, I guess, held on to Alibaba. But here we go. Facebook back to the upside right now breaking through 212.40. So back into the money. We did hold that one against us a little bit. So if we can get back up to like 212.50, maybe Facebook starts to go, and that just was the flush there. So we do have some outs trying to cover up some of this Facebook trade. We are trying to get longer as well down here near 211, but hopefully we get one more little push up here on Facebook back into 213 area, and then we can start to look at some of this 214 again. But it's a good thing we got a little bit out there early, and then again, so right now we're not overly exposed, but see that move up for Facebook. You know, the market's still continuing to move higher there, and Facebook fading down. So we got to find stronger names. The short might be the play despite what this market's doing.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly point you guys out to the futures contracts on oil. We're about 4.5% to the upside, still below that 408. Yet it doesn't seem to matter to Oxy, man. Oxy just wants to go any. Excuse me. Oh, there's the sneeze. It wants to go anyways. 59 break. I just took the first leg out above the quarter mark. By the time I even got to the offer, you were already running through. I'm going to look at those 50s next, 59, 50, and then 60 even will be that next level to the upside that we watch on Occidental. Pinduo Duo, which you want to think, I'm going to guess that the only reason we're not flushing a little bit more is what is happening in the futures. The ES is just gone. It broke through the highs. The NASDAQ just turned green. But if we do get a market turn, this feels like it's primed to come back down here. So as much as it's not running how I'd like, it has started working. It has rejected every single time it's tried to go above 45.5. So we'll see what happens. And Mullen has been pretty solid so far. Even with this dip buy, like we got 35s down here, if I'm buying again, it's likely to be in front of VWAP and 350. Just looks like a fantastic opportunity here in Mullen as that one looking strong once again. Brendo.
Big buy volume there on Upstart, guys. Another one making a decent move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days for UPST back to the upside as well. So straight higher for that one.
We'll ring more Reggies right now. We'll go with a little bit of a banger here if I can find it. Let's just fire off the hot dogs. Why not do that first? As right now, we're going to go 3 for 3 on today's trading. So BABA, nice little rip to the upside. Hopefully that can hold. Facebook is just taking off. And look at BBIG. Let's go. People wondering why we're in this name. But this is why, because it's profit time. And it's a nice little bang situation there for BBIG. And Facebook as well, back up to 213. This is now 80 cents in the money. We took some pieces out. But again, you know, looking for higher here on Facebook. Let's see, we just dipped around near VWAP. We'll take a piece out. If we get back to that 213, it's a big win for us here on that name. And there goes BBIG taking that out now, right up to 25s. We did write down on our sticky note today for BBIG and that we liked it. But if you go here, I need the daily chart. Here it is right here. You know, we talked about getting into this area at 350 or so. So here we go, breaking through. Yeah, let's go. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We've got all of them today, man. We've got the big ones, the Babas, the Facebooks. And then here goes the Vinco Ventures up to 327. Let's take another piece out here as it's starting to rip off. And we got a nice trade here long at $3. But hey, this could drop in a second. So let's take some BBIGs out.
No one ever went broke taking profit, right? So make sure you're doing that, guys. I just took another leg out on Occidental. That 59 break went clean through to 72, it looks like. So in front of that 3/4, the next leg out. I just got a reload on Mullen. So the first time we bought the dip, it was going to be at that pre-market support right before right 9 o'clock actually, and now we're going to see this 350 get put to the test. It's a monstrous run that it already went on here, guys. But if you keep in mind what this stock has done in multiple days, it's what we keep saying: take profit, take profit, take profit, because it's up so far. Like your deeper support is down at $2.80 to $3. But I like the recharge here on Mullen. We'll go ahead and take it. Pinduo Duo continues to try to fail. I'm going to start putting the 15-minute up a little bit more so you can see the real reason I want to hang on to a bunch of this trade, because I feel like you can at least get down to 52. And if you get, $42, and if you break 42, 40 is definitely within range here on Pinduo Duo. Again, it rejects that 46 top, Brendan.
We were talking about those little tiny oil stocks that were up the last time crude was. I was just checking on a few of them. We'll get back to that. IMPP had a volume spike there. This one as well. HUSN back higher, just bounced off 3 on a huge volume spike, trying to get back to day highs for HUSN.
I don't know what to do, because right now, guys, we are just on one more time. $1.20 in the money now on Softy, on Facebook. Let's just go offer enter and get some out right there. There it is, another one, man. $213.80, $1.40 now in the money on Facebook, guys. As this name just keeps getting bought up, man. Dip buy, yes sir, all the way up. We just take that little bit out right now. You know, Baba. Okay, so we had the 250, the 105 break. That was a good one, but it's stopping at 105.50 right now. So I don't really know if we want to hold this or not through that 105.50. I think it's worth it, because we did dump some out there, and unfortunately we're just getting a little nervous about that trade as we tried to take down some VWAP. So again, a nice little long down here at 102, but the fact that we've already been to 102 is a little scary for me. We can retrace back down, especially if the market does fade out. Like, I know we called last week's big rally. I just don't know what we're going to be having through this week. BBIG, good out there, couple outs as we approached up through 20 and then through that 25. So Vinco Ventures, pretty light on the trade right now, but we still need to get some more pieces out. Yeah, back in now comes Facebook on that dip, but I don't want to sell any more of this. If we're lucky enough to get more bids, we'll do that. Let's see if Facebook can't make a real big winner out of us. And then there goes Baba right back up to 50 again. I'm really thinking that, and I know we got to go to Brendan in a minute, but maybe 107 or so for Alibaba isn't that bad. Okay, what's up, Ms. Veep?
Hey Sean, Isa Mohammed said super chat for special one. Miss V, who is me? Thank you so much, Isa. I missed you so much. So glad to see you here today. I wish you a wonderful day. And guys, please make sure you like this video and you're a subscriber of Trader TV Live channel. Back to you guys.
It is a wonderful day so far, and I was asked what the final target for PIK is. At this point, look, $6 is an obvious level next, but I'm trying to hold through this. If it breaks 6 even, I'm thinking back to about 550, but it gets down to that price, and we'll definitely be considering a consolidation down there, reason enough to get out of that 680 short. Remember, I like this. 530 to 540 afternoon support, well, morning support, and then pre-market support as well. So I do like that level for potential bounce long. You can't be long if you're short, so needless to say, I'll be out altogether by the time it gets there one way or another. Occidental, we're going to let this ride into the 60 level as it tries to get out on that jailbreak that we're talking about. If it gets through 60, remember, there's room to go at 62, 63, but if we're not continuing to break in the oil futures contracts, then, you know, I'm going to have to take this one out at that 60 even, Brendo.
There's some deal making this morning we didn't mention, guys, in the pre-market there. Anaplan going to Thoma Bravo for $10.7 billion, a big deal. 66 bucks up here for Plan, guys.
All right.
That's the deal price. It's not trading there, is it?
That's cash too.
Yeah.
So Anaplan, a good little move there. All right, so we're noticing, like, I'm keeping my eyes on NEO. I have it up on another stock, another window, sorry. And we were gonna wait for that 107 on BABA, but then it just started falling apart, NIO. So we take that other bid there at 105.50 on NIO, or sorry, on BABA. Remember, this was a name that we've already traveled all the way down here. So that's part of the reason why we were like not super excited about it coming back in with the futures coming through here. So we did take a piece out there, and we did take more out on Facebook into VWAP as well. Again, nicely done, Facebook. I mean, we're able to get that 213.60 off of our 212.20 bid. So it's really just one in on Facebook. That was an early take where it came right down into that 213, and we got out for $1 right there, or sorry, 90 cents, and then it dropped, and that's right where we are right now. So now we got to look at about a reload if we believe in this NASDAQ as we're dipping right back into these levels. So Fahad, just for a little advice, a little bit louder, but I think it was Brendan. What's up, Brendo?
Indeed. DD Global, big move, guys, along with the rest of the Chinese stocks. Yeah, don't see anything specific, but wow, even DD, 12.5% today.
Okay, this is like the fact that this is up that much and Pinduoduo is still looking weak. That makes me like holding that short even more. But Didi, if you remember on Friday, it was a monster level at 420, and it's already broken through there. I cannot believe, like, why was I not watching that for a break? But oh, there it is. There's that graphic. If you get through this, which is what's being battled right now on the daily chart, that 460. There's room to $5 on DD, but that is a big level in and of itself where we are at the daily chart at that 460. So I guarantee you we have to pay for shorts, so I'm even trying to get some right now. I would have loved that wick off top there at 460 to try and catch that short. You know, I like that setup, but I have to go pay for shorts.
Yeah, we're, how do you enter earlier? How do you know when to enter earlier? What's up, Christian H? Just reading a question here from the chat. How do you know when to enter earlier than the level you have marked for support, like on BABA? The level I marked for support on BABA was 102. So when you're talking about entering earlier, I entered at 102. So yeah, no, that was not an earlier entry. And if you're talking about where I talk about these levels, if you look on the sticky note here, at Trader TV Sean, look, this is what I said. Could have another run to 110 in it today. Looking to see if we take 105. Well, we did, and we took the long. Unfortunately, it's not really working that long. We did get out of it, and we talked about why we got out of it as we were in it. If we do look to support at 102 right there, right? So thanks for asking the question there, Christian, but I feel like I followed the plan almost perfectly. The support was at 102. That's what I wrote down. It bottomed at 101.80 before giving you $4 to the upside. So if you just stick with the sticky note, which I didn't because now I'm long 105 right now, which is partly the sticky note, you would have been long down here 102 as well. So it sort of cuts a little bit of the hit on that 105, but there's the 102. So I feel like we did follow our plan into support there. So, and this was the support, was 102, just back into here. We couldn't go on anything. We did have a nice move there on Thursday where 102 was the high. So I was kind of looking to see if it could hold that. And then again on, like I said, we were gone already on Friday. So Friday, big moves up, but that little dip down right there was 104, and that was kind of the high today. So I think we're trapped a little little bit here on BABA. Kind of feels like a bull trap up there at 105, which is why you're not seeing me average in or do anything with BABA right now. We're going to wait for that 102. If it comes back in, great. And then if it takes down this 101.70 today, then we're going to be out of Alibaba. It'll be a loser, obviously, as now we're $1.50 out of the money on this name. But again, we took that and we got out of it as we noticed there was some issues here with Alibaba taking that 105. So again, let's let this fall back in. The NASDAQ's completely collapsing, kind of like what I thought would happen today, but we're still really flat. It's a nice move up, which we took advantage of, and now it's falling back down into this teeth of the pre-market one more time. So we'll see if it can hold. I guess this very bottom that we're worried about is 14,350, but it's coming faster than we thought here. So yeah, Alibaba, the reload, and thanks for the question, Christian, will be down here at 102.50 again. And then just that bottom, we're not holding it through this. 101.80, we're gone. Honestly, you break down through there. I'm not even going to feel bad if it rips after that dip. That's my level, and you have to, respect your own levels, or the next thing you know, you're averaging into hell.
Yeah. And it's like the roller coaster ride that is this market just continues, because the NASDAQ now, 0.25% down after going positive, but oil's run is still going Oxy because it's what Oxy seems to do. It's like you play the levels for a 59 break. Realistically, you just take it at the open long and it would work as well.
Oh my God.
It's above that 60 price. So now that we've broken out there, and I checked oil futures, broke that 108 level on the way to 110, I'm shooting 62.5, if only because you have that wick top on the daily chart up at 64. So I do want to get out in front on that range. Pinduoduo has a buyer here at about 43.90 or 43.80 to 44. Just over and over again, it cannot seem to break this level. So I did take the next leg out. I still think it can flush, but I'm not going to sit there and fail to take $1.50 on the trade when it's showing all kinds of resistance. If the market rolls over, I feel this one can go. And forget about just 42. It could be down at 40, but I got to be able to take that profit. Brendo?
There was a note there from the Kremlin, guys, suggesting there's been no progress made between Zelensky and Putin as far as negotiations concerned. They were trying to get a meeting set up at least between the two of them, but they're just saying no progress has been made on that front. So that caused that bit of a down move there, it would appear.
Okay, I'm also seeing here that there is some news here about FB with Facebook and the Kremlin there. Yeah, so Meta Platforms as extremist organization right now. So yeah, we don't. Well, that's what Russia's claiming them to be. So yeah, on that news, maybe we'll get out. So we'll take one last try here. We were waiting at 111.20 there. We upped it to 111.14, but here comes the dip down. If this takes out 210, we're just going to get out of this one again. I just don't want to be involved in anything that's has this behind it, and it's not that I think that they are any said organization, but I'm not just going to hold this all the way to the downside here, as banning Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook doesn't seem like a good reason to be long. So we'll be out of Facebook there on a 211 break. So yeah, we'll just go to the downside there as our bubble burst on Facebook, which honestly is fine. That news came, and that's part of the problem. We got to get out of the way, man, of that Facebook news. I'm holding small little percentage here, but we're going to get out of this one. Facebook to the downside, and I'm okay with it. That news came in. Let's just reevaluate and get out of Facebook.
Yeah, like that's all you can do, man. When a newsprint comes out, there's not much you can do about it. Like you're trading live and day trading, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly. So I think it's the right call. We'll see what happens with it. Dominic, I know a lot of people in the chat saying, yeah, DD going crazy. The only way I want that short is if you actually get it right here on that wick off top, first consolidation. You could have had high 58s if you're prepared. I didn't pay for shorts. At this point, I'm looking for $4.20 to turn into support, right? Like the breakout price turn into support. That's the next play for me. PIK looks like it's going to continue to that downside, but it's slow churning to the downside. And I said if it consolidates at $6, might have to consider taking it out and not even wait around for that 530 level ultimately. But I still feel like we're good to go here. Pinduoduo has now started to really roll over, so there's a nice big candle. But that took the futures coming down here, right? Like, without this happening on the NASDAQ, big reversal on the 15-minute here, that's what it took for Pinduoduo to start to get going to that downside. So I am holding on to this one. I still think at least $42. $42 is the minimum target I'm looking for the last of those shares. Brendo?
I saw forward moving, guys, on a bit of volume here. It looks like they just came out and confirmed some of the Ford F-150 Lightning Mileage estimates ahead of deliveries that are supposed to start in the spring, if you remember, for the Ford F-150 Lightning. So a bit of a volume spike there on F.
We'll have a look at F. I'm just a little bit concerned right now about this market as we are starting to crack lower and lower and lower. We're out of Facebook, and good thing we are, man. Down to 210 right now. Move to the downside again. That, you know, that news from Russia, obviously not a good one. We did take a new position though, so we are reloaded. We talked about getting into that position right now on Alibaba, and we did take a position there at 102.20. We're able to get it out into the 40s, but now let's just see, man. I mean, again, with this market crashing down, I don't think we want to be long any names. So we've already been into BABA. We know our ranges here, and I just put an order to get out at 104.50. If we do take down that bottom of the day, and we talked about this as being the plan, then we want nothing to do with these longs, and that's why I called up AMD. We saw AMD aggressive last week, both ways, up and down. So here comes the market coming right back in, and look at AMD up to 117 today. Like, obviously, those shorts would be really nice, but maybe we could just play this momentum to the short side here. See if we break lower, man. 113 into this number could be good if for a short. Obviously, I'd like to look long. It's just we got to look at these futures, man. Like, when a stock goes like this, it's not that I'm sitting here saying, oh, let's take it because it's been such a big move downside. I would have rather seen this coming back in, but I didn't see this move happening in the NASDAQ right away. There really hasn't been any love all day. There's been one green candle since the market opened. I mean, we rallied like crazy, but since we made that top, one green candle, so it's really not giving any love back to the upside here. So there goes Alibaba, now 50 cents in the money. Why? When the market's to the downside, bang, I don't care why, we'll just go,
oh my God,
and not even worry about it, as Alibaba ripping back up to the upside. Really a day saver right there, because if this had tanked, now we only have 40% of this. Let's see if we're right about Alibaba and get this back to 104. We're going to try to hold the rest here on BABA.
And timing, why not? We'll do the fist bump off for Mullen making a break. It just got back above VWAP. Remember that dip at the open, 335? Same price. Let me just go back to the same well. It's right back into those 50s. I'm going to be taking a bunch out in front of that 375. That's still a wick off top, right? And every time you see that, it's a little bit bearish. I finally got into Vinco Ventures here, BBIG, waiting to buy it in front of those pre-market lows. It just got there, bounced off of the pre-market low, able to grab some 93s. I should already be on the offer here. Scalps them out to VWAP is going to be the play for me, and then see if you can't work it even a little bit higher than that. So, you know, Vinco finally into this one. If it takes out pre-market lows, I am going to be gonzo on this stock. So right now, things looking pretty solid. Nothing is concerning, at least in terms of position-wise. About the only one that I do have to, I guess, start considering the monitor is, well, oddly enough, the most in the money, but Oxy's now made a secondary jailbreak here, so you had a consolidation just above $60, and you're seeing it break higher. At this point, if it breaks back below 60.30, I want to be trailing this one out. So I do want to let it ride into 62, see if we can't get that $3, but the trail stop needs to get put in here because I don't want to lose out on those profits. I still am watching oil futures just to make sure we don't get too sideways from the actual trend overall. But right now, things are pretty much going to plan. That last one that we got into, the last re-entry on Mullen, it's now really starting to go, but keep in mind, when I say wick off top, like, oops, I guess it's best on the 1 minute chart. When I say wick off top, at the open, in 2 minutes, it went through that 375.80 and then slammed back down. Within seconds, it was sort of back in that sort of 60 to 70 range, and then you see it reject that 75 price. That's why taking some out in front makes all the sense in the world, as good as that support is. Everything running pretty well right now. Pinduo Duo seems destined to hit that 40 level. I just feel like this is the one that we have to hang on to. There's no trailing stop on this. I just feel like it's going to go down to that 40, given how weak it was relatively when the market was booming, and now the market's pulling back. This is a hold for sure. Brendo?
GM, guys, trying to bounce here. It looks like off 44. We had GM on watch this morning. They bought SoftBank stake in their cruise self-driving division for $2.1 billion. So a little bit of volume coming back in, but negative overall so far for GM.
All right. I know Neil just talked about Pinduo Duo, but we're reloaded up into Alibaba off those bottoms. This is that 102, so shout out to Christian again. We got longer again down here at that 102 using those bottom of the days as key levels, so we'll see if it can crack through. Speaking of one Chinese name, go over to another here, and, you know, we have to trade the volume and the action, right? So here comes this name coming right back down. If China gets going one more time, it is a nice little dip down here for NEO into 20 bucks. You know, I feel like it held that 20 bucks pretty decently back into some levels off of Friday night. So again, I don't own NEO right now, and I don't own it in my own account, but I am looking to own it if we break back above this 2070 mark, as you know, the 50 period and VWAP coming back in, some consolidation down here at 2070. So when that comes through, we will take that bid going through with NEO. So we'll play some momentum to the upside. I actually don't mind this 2050 break, but I'd just like to see a little bit more momentum taking out this 2060 there, as Alibaba. And again, like, we're not trying to like rest on our laurels here. What do you got over there?
Oxy's just losing its mind, man. Like, this stock is completely insane. Like, at this point, I moved my trail like 3 times already, but it's starting to go a little too parabolic. This is now the 3rd parabolic move, and I just saw it wick top to 62s. And when I see something like this, a lot of times I'm thinking about where is the quick reversal trade. So if I'm thinking that, I know it usually means you grit your teeth and take the out. Don't allow it to pull back on you. It made that move into what was about my target, which was just 62 and change, but Oxy now up 9%.
Wow.
9%. Like, the stock is insane. And I always want to make sure I'm doing this for you guys. So I just want to show you what oil futures were doing in that same moment, right? Like, you're breaking right back to resistance. That's the parabolic move in Oxy, is you're going right into morning resistance. So I'm not going to sit there, look that gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to take it. If it pulls a turn there, fine. I got my profit on Oxy. I've been saying every single day that I want to buy the dip on Oxy and never get it. So I guess got to look for the breakout trade. And I didn't even get the break right away. I like the 59 level on the 15-minute. Man, I wish I just took the break at the pre-market high, because that was another free dollar if you took it. On the other direction of the trade, this 42, which my favorite number in baseball, this 42 level on Pinduoduo about to get tested again. I am now on the bid in front of 40, so if this gets broken, could get flushed out of that trade. So far, so good, but that BBIG that I just got into, it got to VWAP, and look, I just noticed this, and I should have, because Sean had a 306, and if you look at it since the open, this 306 level, now twice on the scalp from the bottom, has been a bit of a reversal. So if it holds this pre-market low, I think there's going to be a breakout trade at 306 for Vinco Ventures, but worth taking something inside of the range out. I'm looking for a reload off that pre-market low right now. If it breaks it, I'll give it to 285, and then we'll get out. But there has to be some profit taken between 3 and 306. That's an obvious level now.
Yeah, so yeah, we're waiting to get a little bit more into that name as well, BBIG. We did average down to 303. Okay, so Microsoft has fallen back down. We do like a 296 area. We talked about that on our sticky note as well. Here's the 296 coming in. This was the tops a few days anyways, and the bottoms going back to Friday. So we're going to watch out for 296 coming in. We're trying to bid 296.40 or 80, 296.80. Excuse me, if we get that dip down in, we'll take that. The bottom of the day is 296.70, so excuse me, just chugged a whole bunch of water there. If we come back down into 296, that's what we're going to look for Softy. So we've got some bids on there. Reload possibility on BABA coming through as well here on the daily. So we'll look at this coming back into this 101.50. That's going to be our out. So if we can get something longer into this, and then we'll just try it for one more time. You know, reload and in. Our big mistake was that 105 out, but we were able to get some outs, but now it's kind of just like an average price, 102.20. Is our last price, but again, you guys have seen us trade, or me trade Alibaba. Hopefully we get a rip up here, but if this market doesn't want to go up, then I feel like we've done pretty good absorbing some of these plays today. I mean, our Facebook, someone said that news was old. No, this is different news. Maybe, I mean, Brendan can highlight it one more time if he wants to, but it's the court today labeled Meta Platforms extremist organization. So that just came today. So, and then they banned it.
Yeah.
So the thing is that Facebook, as far as I know, and Instagram banned themselves from Russia. So, and now today, Russia banning them. So Facebook could have simply just turned the servers back on, but I'm guessing today that's not the case, Brendan.
Yeah, so Aftermarket Friday, guys, they filed an injunction to appeal this decision, and they were waiting for this court ruling to come. So in the pre-market, Reuters was actually reporting that they knew that this was going to actually be the case, but I guess it was just made official by the actual judge. But it seemed like this was coming anyways, guys.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. We appreciate it's all about the clarification. It's all about getting it right. We know that's what it's all about. And I always forget what we call this thing, but we're going to walk on a little bit of water here because Mullen does it. Like this stock, it consolidates. I wish I'd gotten more shares in here in front of 350, but I didn't. But that 375, got to take profit where it lies, man. So we take some out here at that 375. Now we're just looking to hold into $4 on Mullen. And this is where we get 4 from. It's just... You look at the daily chart, the next place where you'd expect the consolidation was right here at 75 where it is, and then $4 is just the next even dollar. It's pretty much that simple. I'm not going to get too much more complicated than that. I was asked in the chat, Oxy short. Look, here's the thing. Just because it went parabolic, and I said if it was another stock, I would probably look at a parabolic move like that for a short. As bullish as this is, that was just a reason for me to get out of the long. This is not a stock that I want to short. And if I do short an oil-related name, it is almost always recently going to, and I think and still, it's got to be Chevron because it's a little bit weaker. The levels are a little bit easier to play off of those even dollars for the turn. As I mentioned that 165, those $5, 160, 165, 170, if oil's turning, then short Chevron if it's at an even dollar range like that. But not accidental for me. It can work sometimes. I just don't want to do it. Already 10 o'clock, wow, and past 10, time to go to Brendan for Happening Now.
A lot of individual movement so far today. Overall, the market's pretty flat, guys. We are red. The NASDAQ leading 0.7, 0.2 for the Dow, basically flat for the S&P 500, but individual names, different story. TSX here in Toronto, still positive on the move in oil, mostly. A lot of oil stocks here in Toronto. A few things we were talking about in the pre-market. Boeing, obviously, still down, but trying to maybe find a bit of a bottom there after that crash. Sad story there. Chevron as well. We're just covering some of the oil stocks there. Big move for Chevron back to the upside. And yeah, all the Chinese stocks, crazy volatility, guys. Back over to you.
Volume. Look, the volume is completely insane. I think none more so than DT. And, we talk about preparation all the time, and it's easy to complain. I have Rivian, that's the one breakout long that didn't work. But the reason I'm going to not be happy with myself is we know DT's in play. We know these Chinese names were going to be names that we wanted to look at today, and DT was a great short at that 420. I just didn't go ahead and pay for those shorts. And you look at what happened at that wick top at 460. It pulls right back in and didn't even hold the 420 support. So as fast as they go up, sometimes that's how quickly they can come down too. I know we've been sort of going gangbusters. I've traded a half a dozen names today, and things get missed. AMD got missed. You can see it hold 113. Go to 117, pull right back to the same level before breaking back out. Now the problem with the long and the short trade is going to be obvious, and this is what I'm saying. Should not have missed out an opportunity when this got to that high, the Fed high, we'll call it, that 116, 117, the reversal. But support to me is at 110. That's a level I really like on AMD. If this market continues to fall, I think we might see that. Brendan.
Let's go back to low float land. This one is 5.9 million. Neurosense Therapeutics. There was an FDA ruling on one of their treatments they're working on this morning in the pre-market. So this thing was up anyway in the pre-market. Just took out 250, went right through to $4 on huge volume, guys, for NRSN. It's already traded its entire float.
Of course it has.
All right, so once, there's a few names that are going crazy on the float side of things as well, but that happens every single day. We reversed into BABA short. I mean, it just took down that day's low. We tried it one more time at that 101.80, and then we got out right when we said we would at 101.50, so that breaks to the downside. Now we'll try a short, trying to look at 101, and then after that, man, maybe it's just some downside pressure for the rest of the day here on BABA. Down already 7%. The market is going lower. Obviously, if you're going to sell some some beat down names that have had nice relief rallies. I mean, some of these Chinese names could be the name that you're looking at on a short. I was thinking a long if we had a chance, but we tested the long a few too many times today, and it just didn't work. I mean, we got in, it worked. I mean, we didn't, it's not so much damage. That last take long there, we were only long at 102.20, but then the average in at 101.80, and then the dump out there at 101.50. So, we are going to take an L here on Alibaba today so far, but we are holding this short into this number. It just touched 101.12. I think we get lower and we break through that 101, and then after that, well, I mean, we got to be right first, but you do have a base down here where we opened on Friday at 99.50, if not 100 flat. So that's still a while away, man. I mean, let's just see if the market comes back up here to that 14,350, and then we'll see. But what did I say about CEI on Friday? If you guys remember CEI on Friday, I said this was down here near that 50 period, and we got a nice bump up. I believe CEI is one to watch here for Monday, and that you guys hopefully were able to hold that. You're up 21%. We called this. We called CEI down here at 80 bucks, breaking through 101. So we'll test it. We're long CEI here on a one break. Who knows where this name's going to go? I'll hold this back to about 96. But CEI right now on everyone's radar, maybe up to 37 million shares. CEI pumping again, Brendo.
On that, you were talking about BOBA there on the Chinese note, guys. Beijing apparently considering to adding WeChat Pay to Tencent's financial overhaul, which would be negative, obviously, for Tencent. But some of the Chinese names moving on that.
So just quickly for that NRSN, I'm waiting for this 470 top on the daily. So look, obviously just recently to the market, but that's a level I like, so that's what we're going to wait for a short side of the trade. I just went ahead and paid for, oh God, actually hit accept. There we go. Oh my, this is like a confirmation for our pay for shorts that I'll put it in and then I just forget to hit the confirm, and then you go to use the shares and you don't have them. But that's the level I'm looking for. Mullen, still running here, but it's having all kinds of trouble at 375. So I keep wanting it to make that last push into $4, just having a little trouble getting there. I still think it has a really good chance to take us to the promised land and break that 375, get us to 4 even. That's where I'd be looking for any kind of a short trade on Mullen. It's going to be that $4 level. So at this point, we're just sort of managing the trade. Binko Ventures makes that, it tries to break that pre-market low. I have my stop set at 285, like right below. It needs to print on a lit gateway at 84. It manages to somehow not do that. Dark pool print at 84, and it's for now bounced. But if there's one thing that's not going to work out, it looks like it's Vinco. I'm still on the offer all the way to that 306. I feel like that has to be a profit-taking center because 06 held multiple times at the open. Starting to fall off here on Vinco Ventures. And Pinduoduo, it's the same story. It's that 42 bid. And can't seem to get past this 42 bid. And, I'm still going to hold the short to that 40 even. I feel like we've got this one here. You got that double top. You go to the 15, you can even find more significance for that 46 level. And I think once we get through that 42, which was the afternoon bottom, then you can start heading back down to that 40 even. So this is just a hold for me. It's going pretty well, but the market rolling over was the big assist there, because until we turn in the market, that was just kind of okay, and now it's looking great. Oxy, like I said, I took it out and it's still continuing to run. I don't see any reason to be short this name. If it got to 63, 64, I could definitely change my mind on it. But if I make if there's something new that I get into, it does feel like, whoops, I just spelled that one wrong. NRSN, Neil. That's NRSN is the one that I feel like I'm going to be getting into next, but it still hasn't made that final push into that 470, which is its all-time high.
Okay, so I feel like, I've just been like a victim of news today, it seems like. Like, I finally switch up to short in Alibaba, and then I throw to Brendan, and it's good news for Alibaba. It's like, can't win, but it doesn't matter because bang, we reloaded, and now we have our biggest trade on for Alibaba on the day here as we're coming back down to the downside. Some 101.30 bids may be coming through. We did believe in that short on Alibaba, so right now we are 50 cents in the money, or 30 cents in the money. It's bouncing around. We just did take some 50-cent winners there down to 101.40, so that was a good out there for Alibaba, but now it's just dancing, man. We'll see what happens with the futures. We did believe in that short again on the bump up, and again, it's up that down that 6% after being up like 40% from $73. So we'll see if Baba wants to fade back in, which is kind of crazy. We are long CEI here above 101, above 1. I guess 1 was the short. That's fine. If we lose on this name, we lose on this name. I'm completely fine with this because, again, it was worth the shot. Maybe we'll take something out now, but there goes Alibaba, now 75 cents in the money instead still going to the downside. I don't know if you're short any Chinese names, Neil, but this one looks like it's starting to go down. We have ignored NEO to the long side until things settle down a bit.
Yeah, it's still just Pinduo Duo for me, and I'm going to hang on to it. But I will tell you this much. There's your 470, that daily chart level on NRSN. Of course, when I went to hit the confirm, looks like shares unavailable. I'll have to try and get some again. I mean, locates unavailable. That's what I mean. When I say shares unavailable, we can't short it just yet. I got a quoted price, and then when I went to confirm, couldn't grab them. But you are seeing it turn. So when in doubt, zoom out. It's sort of an obvious level to be able to see this and say that's where people are going to be looking to sell, at least that first level. Is what it is at this point. I'm going to have to double check in a couple of minutes. Still watching for Mullen to try to take out that high. At this point, either you get VWAP here for dip buys or we break out the top. I don't really see too much of another trade other than being very, very patient with Mullen. And you alluded to NEO there a little bit, Sean.
Yeah.
It just now took this 20 level again. You know, if you're not into short trade in some of these Chinese names, it can be psychologically difficult to short bottoms. But if you look at what's going on in NEO, if it gets through this 1950, you know, that was sort of afternoon, I guess late morning support is the best way to think about it on NEO. That's a pretty ugly level to get broken here today, and then you're probably head down to 1850, 19. I'm already holding a short, so shorting the bottom something else doesn't make a ton of sense. If you go back over to, oh goodness, the granddaddy of them all, I'm talking about EVs.
Yep.
Tesla, I wanted 950s. That was the level I said 950s is your short. It got ever so close, 943 before pulling back. It might have had more to do with the market than anything else, but clearly that 950 area is going to be our overhead support on Tesla for now. Brendo?
Nielsen's, guys, was down significantly pre-market. Speaking of deal making, we talked about another one earlier. They officially rejected $9 billion offer at $25.40 per share, saying it was significantly undervalued. So a huge gap down after that rally we saw last week. But trying to get back to the upside here for NLSN.
Maybe not so undervalued after all. If it's coming all the way back down, they don't like that call. All right, so we're going to get out. So Microsoft again, we're trading BOBA to the sell side, and what a great decision that's been, man, as we make back the majority of our money here on the short side for Alibaba. I still have that. I'm going to put a bid here at $100.60. See if we can't take out a little bit more there. It is bouncing. We have a one at $100.05 bid. What was the bottom there? How did we not get that? 101.05 we're bidding as well. There it is. So there it is right in. Let's cancel. Oh, man, that just flushed. Okay. I think this can go down even lower now off that. So $100 and maybe 40 cents. We'll put a bid now on Alibaba, see if it can come back in. I was talking about getting out of this softy trade. Let's see if we get some offers out. Yeah, it just took down the day's low again. We're short here, Alibaba, and long BBIG, who cares? Yeah, I don't know if this market's going to make it back today. So being long Microsoft at these levels, although this was 296, the area that we talked about, if we can get away from this by the skin of our teeth, I think that's not a horrible idea now as it's starting to come back down. We'll take some offers. There we go. We're just getting some out. I mean, Microsoft, a little bit of a bid there, a little bit of a bid there. We'll hold it in case it now goes back up to the upside. But again, this is a little bit of damage control right now. If the market wants to go down to the downside, that's fine. I don't want to be holding a lot of shares. We have better targets in place, man, for some of these names, especially the fact that we're $1.70 now and still going down into the money on Alibaba. So there, I put a $100.40. Remember that? It just came right back down. We didn't get filled, but that's where my bid is. Come on, Alibaba, let's go. 5 more cents in, and we get a nice little bid here for $1.50 in the money, but it doesn't look like it wants to get down there. Why not? Let's bid 50. There we go. Oh, cancel my 40s now. All right. We got 52s out right there on Alibaba. So a nice little flush down on Alibaba as we switch up the game. And that's the advantage that we have here, man, going back and forth on these names. So we noticed weakness in Alibaba, not strength. So we flipped the game. The only bad position on Alibaba was this 105. And other than that, man, it's been a good day to short Alibaba, that's for sure. Probably other Chinese names, I said as well, like NIO.
Before we go,
ahead,
the chip names are getting smashed. Obviously, the market's coming down, but Micron in particular, someone asked levels for Micron 77. 76, man, last week, this gap up that we had in the market, Micron held 76 multiple times on, I think it was Wednesday, I want to say, but it's churning down into this. We're just flushing, right? So you get to that 76, that's the only line in the sand I like. So I'm actually going to throw a bid down there just so I don't miss it. I mean, there's just no way I want to miss out on that trade if we get to that price. Mullen is starting to pull back on me. Whoops. Well, I guess anybody that has a long, that's still Micron. Mullen pulling back into VWAP here. The market's weak enough that I would rather see it consolidate. Last thing you need is to sort of get in at the high, get in too early, and then have the market drag even something like this down when you could have had it at a better price. We know 335 to 340. That's a good entry price and has been for Mullen. And I still want this thing to break that top and get that $4 range. Was it Ms. V?
That's right, Neil. And hey, team, we really need your help. We have more than 6,000 people watching and only 1,200 likes. So please, we would really appreciate if you find a second and like this video. Back to you guys.
Yeah, like the video, okay, so Microsoft is rallying back up to the upside. I was waiting for 85s, but so we can take a 40 here on Microsoft. I think that's well to take out there. Come on. And we are looking to reload, and the reason is, so we did take out some pressure here. We're waiting for this 96 to break. Obviously, this came back up. We got some 99s, some 98s. CEI, we took a shot there at 101. It looks like that'll be a misstep for us, but that's fine. I'll cancel my 104 offer. I don't think that's coming through. Just like we were trying to take some 104s out for our first spot, that's 4 cents worth of risk. Well, it looks like right now we'll lose that 4. I guess it'll be 5 cents back in. It'll be less than that because we're out of 30% there, 10, 20, 30. But here comes on a 96 break. We should, as long as my order goes out, get out of that trade. So that's that coming through. Meanwhile, Alibaba still to the downside. This was the one name that I was looking to reload. I thought we could get some 101.50s there. We are not. So that's not what we're doing around. Yeah, what's up, Alex? Thank you so much for that super chat as it comes through. Thank you for the love on the sticky note. I always like to see me fighting and scalping around. Yeah, I'm here to fight, man. I took an easy road on Rivian. Oh, man, I didn't even look at Rivian. Rivian today, I paid for the shorts, and we had the short written on here for Rivian. So let's go back over and have a quick look to see what. I know Neil was looking at Rivian today. Yeah, down to 43. Yeah, you're right. You did take the easy road. But whatever, you put the trade on. That's a great trade up to 46. We did like that. Why was I not short Rivian early? I just should have been looking at that. Yeah, that's my bad, man. We said, 46 is a good short. It's written right here on the sticky note. So there's Rivian, man. Once again, we don't following our own damn notes, and we should have been. Rivian 46 is all over the sticky note, and it's only $3 in the money. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. We're happy to have $2 in the money now with BABA going to the downside. But anything you want to review before we go to Brendan?
Before we go to Brendan, the NRSN is halted to the upside. The price has gone up for locates, but at least this time they accepted. So it's halted at 614, but 575 is the current price looks to open at in about a couple of minutes. So it's indicating it's going to open about 40 cents to the downside, oddly, as we take you to Brendan. Time for the small cap recap. Good timing.
Do it.
Hey guys, yeah, NRSN definitely fits into small cap territory, or micro cap, I guess I should say. PIK does as well. We were talking about PIK coming off of a huge move up the last 2 days last week. This kind of channel on the daily chart is 6 to 5.5 at the bottom, 8 at the top. So 580 was kind of a level I was watching here. It did try and break that right before the open, but did pop right back above it. So I was going to short this all the way up to 750. Gave you a great opportunity all the way down to 540. So a couple of dollars straight to the downside for PIK. I mentioned Mullen right before the open. I don't know. It's not really doing anything. I kind of got bored with this. Tried it a couple of times, basically flat on it. So got away from it. Volume dying off as well for MULN. And quickly, UTime. UTME was another one that was up in the pre-market on nothing significant, really, that I could find. Tested the highs. I had an offer 1 cent above that. We don't need to talk about that, but would have got more up there. Nice move down to 230 for UTME as well, guys. Back over to you.
I like that ticker, UTime. Why not? We'll do this one for Brendan in general, but also just got that Micron 76 quarter. It stalled at 76.25. That's the level we liked. I just grabbed some out there for 1-to-1. If I'm long quarters in front of 76, I'm going to take some out when it gets to 50. You guys kind of know that's how we're going to trade it. But that's the level so it was showing the trades last time I put up my 15-minute. Now you don't see them. But these longs at 76 were great last week. And we talked about the overhead resistance that last week that Micron has at that 81. You can see it flush down today, but the scalp, wait for the significant level, then we finally get into it. NRSN has now opened back up here. Whoops, 1 minute chart. Opens up lower, like we said, it was looking like it was going to open at 575. I'm not going to chase this. I did want to short, and it opens lower. You could have shorted off $6 or that high, but chasing it down to 520 doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. If it tries to make another push and can't get through the high, that's the only way I want to get into that one. End up having a bunch of long trades, but remember, Mullen Vinco Ventures are small caps here, and that Pinduo finally is broken $42. So that target of 40 looks like it's going to start to come in here. It almost doesn't matter which Chinese name you shorted. They're all pretty good here. I did say that Neo, to Sean when Brendan was up there at the screen, was probably the biggest miss, if only because of what it looks like on the 15-minute. The way that it rejected a breakout of Friday's high, that failed 21 break is a gorgeous entry. You always look for those pop and fade where it traps some long breaks and then you get that flush. So I do regret missing out on that one, but Pinduo looks like I should be close to that bid now. We're just sort of sitting right here in front of 40. And why 40? If you look at Friday, this is exactly where it broke out from. So of course I'm going to want to get some shares out in front. I see an iceberg at 40.50 and we're just going to get right out. So Pinduo goes exactly to plan. I never really use that one, but a lot of times I'll get trailed out or look at that 42 support and say, oh, look at that support at 42. It starts consolidating at the same price, just take it out. No, you've already trimmed the position in front of it. At this point, hold on to your target, stay on target. As a nerd, I have to say that. So now suddenly only into long trades. But these are going to have relatively obvious stop levels. 76 on Micron. That makes all the sense in the world to me. Vinco Ventures somehow is managing to not break this bottom, so we're in it for now. Still has a chance to break back out, but it's a small cap. I don't think it's going to be as concerned with what the market is doing. And NRSN, which is the one that we're looking to maybe get into, it's still NRSN, Neil. Just broke that high of the day. So didn't want to chase it down to the short. There was no curl to be had off that pre-market, off the all-time, was an all-time high at $6. Now it's trying to make another push up. $7.50, $8, those are the types of curls I'll look for. But I want to see it slow and turn before I get into any kind of a short. It's going absolutely nuts.
How about my kid? First day live, up $300 already?
Nice.
Like, what the hell? I just told him to go home. Because that's good. The luck of the Irish, although we're not Irish. So go home. Great trade. I'll talk to you after, man. Wow, what a great day there. May be that fastest graduate. We'll see here coming through. You got to do it in under whatever it was for me, 20-something days. But that was to make 5,000. When I graduated. So little different situation there. Baxter. Okay, here we go to the upside, though, but a great start, my man. Got to congratulate you publicly for sure for that start. Okay, we're reloaded right now. We took CEI one more time on this play. We lose 5 cents. Now we'll try to make 5 back on this name. So we are long now at 96 and change. We are offering right now $1 on this name just to get out of a piece of this, up to $1. So yeah, those damn kids, you're right, are already crushing me. That's what happens with age, right? I get older, they get better, so that's good for them. Let's go. Oh, but you know what we're crushing right now? Check out Alibaba. This name getting absolutely destroyed to the downside, and I'm so glad that we flushed our longs down the toilet because now we make that money back. Hitting this on Alibaba, coming nicely down to the downside right now. We took a 99.70 bid, and why did we take that? If you zoom back out a little bit here, that's right where we opened up on Friday. So we opened up down here, 99.70, 99.80. I mean, if I zoom in, you'll be able to see that very bottom in the pre-market was 99 flat, and we're taking that down right now, 99 flat to the downside here. No, my kid doesn't keep any of what he makes. That just goes right to me. For rent, but I haven't even talked to him yet about that. So that's why I'm telling him to go home. But again, man, hey, man, thanks a lot. A super chat for Baxter right now. So there you go, Baxter. You're already a star. There we go. But nice little move there for you. Let's check out. Okay, Baba's right now is breaking. Spin it. Money. 350 now in the money on Alibaba as we switch up the game plan and go to the downside now for Alibaba. Down goes Baba right now. Down move here. Nicely done there. CEI looks like it went to $1 and completely stopped. So our out for CEI is 94. We'll take another shot on this name. Like we just said, it completely stopped at $1. If it doesn't want to go up, then we will this time just take 2 cents worth of a hit, and that's fine. I mean, this is what this name does. If it takes out $1, then I think we rip City. We're already long here. Let's hold out for better as, wow, man, what a good move down here. What was that bottom? 98.80. Let's put a bid around 99 for Alibaba in case that was the bottom, and then we'll hold the last little piece. $4, man. Good, decent move down here for this Chinese name.
There you go. And look, the market's starting to get to this 14.2 level. I'm going to quickly show you this on the NASDAQ. Just this 14.2 on the NASDAQ, down over 1%. Could find support. If it does, that's probably going to get me the next leg on Micron. But just want to quickly show NRSN. I tried to grab this when it failed to break at 7 even. Now that it's tried to go through this price, you've already had one wick top off of this level. You've already had a halt trade. I do like a consolidation short here. A couple of more wicks at that 650 level. I'm likely to try it twice here. First time will be, if I can even get in, first time will be off of that 650, which you sort of see here, and then off of 7 even. But NRSN starting to show some kinks in the armor, is that the term? Whatever you want to call it. So we'll see if we can't get it in front of that 650 level. I just grabbed the short in front of 20s. Going to play it down to what the post-halt low, which was 5 to 525, guys, with a stop at 650. I just feel like it's worth a couple of cracks here, just how far it's gone. And the obvious levels that it's starting to put in. So I'll get a 550 bid out first, or at least in front of 550, and then see if we can't work it down towards that $5 range. Should be a decent one, but we had to wait around for this to make a couple of highs. I do feel like Micron, with the market heading down like this, Micron, first leg was pretty good. It bounced off 76, gave that 76.50. Now it's trying to bounce off 76 even. I'm not looking to add to this position at all. It would have to hold and bounce off 76, and then I would consider adding to it one more time. Not going to go counter trend too strong here, but worth noting, Vinco Ventures continues to hold that pre-market low. Now it's looking to break back out, not moving the offers. I'll get a bunch out in front of VWAP and then see if we can hold for a 306 break. But holding the low, at least for now, on Vinco Ventures looking pretty good. And then Tesla, it's not 900 yet. But the pre-market, well, not the pre-market low, but the opening range bottom at 910, that is under threat. If that gets broken, I think we have a chance to visit that 900, where I think is worth the dip buy, but only at 900 for me.
I like that. Under threat right now. Under threat of extinction is Alibaba, apparently, as we are now $4 in the money, and this name keeps on cracking lower, lower, and lower. And again, guys, Valeria's going to come and give a big thank you, but before it left, I just want to visually show you. Thanks a lot, Mandolin, right there. Another super chat for Baxter, so thank you so much for that one, as it goes bing bong for Baxter to the downside. So thank you so much for all of that. Check out what's happening with NEO. I should have shorted NEO for sure. Oops. That's not NEO, that's Alibaba. Bing bong. $4 in the money on Alibaba. But NEO right now starting to head and make moves downside as well. This was the short I was looking at, and we just missed it, but it's right here. It's 1960. That was that bottom there on Friday. Realistically, this was a good bottom, 1980, once we cracked through there on the daily chart. But we just took down this 1960. I feel like we could float to 1920 and then make a decision about this name around 1850. So I may short this or may not short this as we go, but I'm not going to go long. I would rather it get back to 20 near this 50 period, but an absolute collapse right now on all of these names to the downside. Baba, NEO, I mean, I don't even know what JD is doing right now. Neil's talked about Pinduo coming back down to the downside. JD down 10% and absolutely collapsing as well. Brando.
Yeah, huge moves higher last week for those names back to the downside today. I just saw Spirit, SPR, which is Boeing's major supplier, pop back up on some volume. It tried to hold, looks like 44.50 there on support, still down 5% for SPR along with Boeing as well. Just double check the European time change, not until next Sunday. So still a couple hours left in the session over in Europe. Miss V is watching what's going on over there. What's up, Miss V?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are mixed. Tires manufacturer Nokian Tires is down more than 13% as its exposure to Russia continues to weigh. And guys, while we're on me, we have multiple super chats for Baxter from Eric Ciaroni. This is for Baxter to help beat Dad. Madeline Pazarel, go Baxter, and indeed Baxter, great job. First day live. $300. Wow, way to go. And Sean, how you say when your student beats the teacher?
Soon, maybe, soon.
I hope he absolutely destroys me. I hope he absolutely destroys me. So, yeah, let's go Baxter for sure for that
That's what
one.
you always want.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I want the best
that for
for my
you want
kids,
that for
right?
your kids.
But I also don't want him to be a trader, so I've already talked to him about this. So,
okay.
Too much stress.
Well, you see, but it's also a lot of fun too. It's a rewarding job. And you eat what you kill, and it's definitely good. But the other thing too is, even just like traders that we've taught before that we've had on the floor, it's one of the coolest feelings when they get that next level up, and it's a lot of fun to see happen, guys. So congratulations to Baxter. Can't wait to talk to him after the show is done. This market just found a bit of a bid. I mean, not much of one, but a little bit. So a bit of a bouncer. I just noted that 40 on Pinduoduo, that bounced to 42, but you are finding some bids across the board here. Tesla, that 910. Unfortunately, as I point all that out, Micron does take out the 76 low. So when the market catches a bid, you end up breaking through support on Micron, which leads me over to AMD. Which is bouncing. So some relative weakness in Micron that I'm just going to quickly note there. AMD manages to hold the 113 level while Micron can't hang on. If you're still looking at that NRSN, which I'm in, there is an iceberg order at 650. No question about it. Like, someone's on the offer at that price and they're holding it through. So that's where my stop is. If it breaks that, I'm going to be crossing out of this one pretty quick. But that level is being held over and over again. Kind of at this point, if it goes either direction, sitting long or short's actually not that bad, right? If you go long in front of like 580 or so, you have a nice little winning opportunity. But a tight stop here at that 650 for me, as it looks like it could jailbreak from there as well. I still hold on to that Mullen trade. It looks like VWAP has been okay. I didn't want to buy the dip again unless it was at 335 to 340 range. It's still holding in the money, but I want this. Now that it's shown that it can hold these pre-market lows, you start thinking about what the trend is here. So the longer it holds the pre-market lows, the more likely it has a chance to break out the high. I'm holding out for that breakout of the high in Mullen.
Yeah, I'm waiting. All right, so I think we'll try here. We'll try Softy on a rip to see if it goes. We did hold out. Oh, by the way, bing bong! Right now for CEI, going back up to the upside here. If we can, we'll take some 01s, and there it is. We get some 01s as well. Making that money back a little bit here on CEI. We talked about getting it out at 1. We took it out at 1. We took another piece out at 101. Now we wait for 104 or so on CEI to that upside again, and kind of just randomly waiting for that level. I mean, I don't really have any levels on CEI to look at. I mean, we did gap it right in around here. There's that one. I mean, that's 103, so that's kind of where we put our first offer, but it was more because we wanted the risk to reward to be 1-to-1 on that first move. And then if you go back up to the upside on CEI, I guess like 110 maybe in here, you could see something. And then if you really go to the upside, and I don't know if we get to 125 today, that seems like a reach, but hey, we've seen crazier things happen on this name. So watch out for 120, I would think, would be a good spot. If you're really, really pretty like greedy on this name, I mean, I think I'm going to take something out for sure at 104. I mean, that's where my offer is right now. And then I think into this teens is a great area to get out. And then the best spot to me would be like 120. Like if you can get 120, which is 20% up from here, we've seen these names go much higher than that, especially names that are on the parabolic side of things. But 61 million shares, it's already above $1. I just feel like there's a lot of ringing the register. I talked about this on Friday as a possible hold, and that was 83 cents. So if people did that, now today you're up 21%, you might start to sell. So watch out for CEI possibly coming back in right now. And then we only have a small piece left of our Alibaba, but that was executed down here at 99. So now we have a little bit of leeway on Alibaba making that cash. And then the big mistake, I guess, would have just been to get out of Microsoft. But the market was bleeding, and now that we're coming back near the 50 period and have a chance to get going one more time off those bottoms, I actually like Microsoft now. So if Microsoft could take this out about 80 or so, I guess it's 75, 80, then we'll go long on Softy and see if it can enjoy a bump up the rest of the day. So let's go long on Microsoft instead of Facebook. And again, we got out of Facebook, which was done well because it went all the way down to 207.50 guarantee. So I'm glad now that we didn't hold this one all the way to the grave because I didn't have any levels down here, but now we do. 207.50 for Facebook. And then a big one on Microsoft to see if we could take it out, which it's approaching this period right here. Microsoft ripping, futures starting to go back upside.
Before I get to SoFi, because a name that maybe shouldn't have got missed today, but Sunny Shiba, new listener, are all of the trades you're discussing this week's options? No, we're trading equity. We always trade equity. That's in Day Trade the World. We're trading the equity directly, directly at the NASDAQ New York, whatever exchange it's on. But it's always equity trades for us. And shout out to that name because Sunny Shiba is pretty close to Sunny Chiba, which is one of the members of my, I want to say, all-time favorite undercover hip-hop group, Camp Low. I absolutely love him. Sunny Chiba. Hopefully that's an ode to that. If it's not, fair enough. But I said I was going to just talk about SoFi here. And I know Neil looked really good for the short. Oh, for the love of you-know-what. Look at SoFi at $10 today. I mean, we knew this got to $10 on Friday. I remember pulling it up in the afternoon show. And then look at what happens at the open. $10 high, double top, pop and drop, all the way down into support at 930. That is the exact, and I'm talking exact same setup as the Pinduo Duo trade, only it's a cleaner chart. So, and the $10 is an obvious level as well. So, look, you look for setups. I love trading setups more than anything else. And there's another one for you on SoFi. I think 9 to 925 could find a little bit of support. NRSN starting to go on the money, but I'm not taking 20 cents. I want at least 30 to 40, better than 1-1 on the first leg because I have to anticipate slippage as we send you to Brendan for Sector Watch.
Hey guys, yeah, about a 50-50 kind of day right now. We are down 0.25%, but you can see half and half as far as positivity and negativity on the board so far today. I want to start with this group here, consumer discretionaries, the automotive group down here. We talked about a few of these, GM, Ford, even Tesla looking a little bit weaker at this point, but GM, Ford, that's actually Tesla right there, still positive on the day. CCL flew by there. There it is, 3.75%. Earnings before the open tomorrow for Carnival, so mark that down. We'll watch that tomorrow. Tech stocks very weak today. Semiconductors leading, software names right across the board in negative territory. These are the defense names once again. Lockheed Martin, I mean, there's a lot of them, but all of that group showing a lot of positivity to start the new week once again. That's Boeing. Boeing down 5%. Obviously, the crash, the reason there. You can see some of the commercial names, Nielsen in there as well, 9.5%, trying to get back to the upside on that M&A activity. That's oil. We talked about the move in oil already. Mosaic, CF, Nucor, Newmont, FCX, pick one of the mining stocks. They're all higher along with metal prices today. So the rest of the board, you can see a bit of a mixed story. We are down overall, but I mean, there are some positive notes, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, like I mean, there is some positivity in the market, not a heck of a lot. But Vinco Ventures, the last one that I think is going to be, I feel like the trouble this morning because it cannot break off that pre-market low. A lot of times with the small cap names, I feel like if it holds that pre-market bottom, it's got a secondary run in it, but it cannot seem to bounce away from it. So in the next, let's call it, we have 15, 20 minutes before we get to the end of our show and throw you on to Trader Pratt and Ms. V, which will kick butt like they always do. If we don't get through that at lunchtime or get through these levels at lunchtime, by the time we're back at 2 o'clock, I feel like this is only going to be heading lower and breaking that bottom, probably to that 250 range. But I'm holding on to the long, as long as we don't break this out, it's just running out of time for something positive to happen with it. And I wish I had not waited for 900 on Tesla. It bounces right off the opening range. And this is what you wanted. This is what I want Vinco to do. Like, break away from it, get to the first level, consolidate, break back out again. That's what we would love to be able to see. On the other hand, here in small cap space, Mullen is still holding out above VWAP, so relatively strong, right? Like Vinco Ventures held the low but didn't run away from it. Mullen is doing that multiple times here, and you're able to get these bounces and take advantage of them. I did like Boeing for short. It just never came into the price I liked, and it had to be up at that 190 range. But there was another name from last week that was obviously on everybody's radar, and that was GameStop after the earnings today. And you're not going to be able to trade everything, right? And it's been a good morning, so I'm not going to complain too much about things. But to have not looked at GameStop after earnings, and have a quick look at this chart. Pinduoduo was great, and I know I keep coming back to that, but Neo had a double top setup for a short. I just showed you the same thing on SoFi. Well, if you were watching GameStop, exactly the same thing. Each one of those, different timings, obviously, but goes right into the Friday high and then completely rejects in a weak market. So when you're looking for shorts or looking for opportunities, that's a setup you want. Sometimes you get the reverse, and it's a dip buy into some of those obvious levels, and it might do that in a ripping market, and you catch a great dip buy. But this is also almost close to $100 on GameStop as well, which maybe it bounces, maybe it comes back into play. We'll see. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, but there's your double top. It's the fourth or fifth time I've seen the exact same setup. If you catch one or two of those, that's all you really need. I know Baba did the same thing. I know Neo did the same thing, but GameStop and should have been on our radars, guys, because it reported last week. I'm just going to, if I get into another trade, I think it's likely to maybe be taking a shot at one of the chip names, but I don't see the entries or the setups just yet. It's this NRSN, which is still barcoding. You still have that 650 sell. It's an iceberg. They're sitting there. You have that 5. It's now 595. It was 580 before that I'm bidding in front of, but now it's 595 that is that support. So if it breaks up, I'm stopped out. If it breaks down, I'm taking profits down into that reopen bottom. That's about $5.20. I'll be all out in front of that $5. But the trade so far hasn't really done too much. Consolidation is good for either direction because if you have a tight enough stop, the risk to reward is great on a break in either side. I'm just choosing the short, path of least resistance when it's gone parabolic, $2 to $7. At that point, usually I'm going to sit short in the consolidation.
Yeah, I just told Baxter that he better keep some money so that we can have a chicken dinner winner on there. So we're going to see if he can do that. I didn't even realize the time that we were almost done right now. Okay, so just a quick little update here as we hold on to many things, but not Microsoft. We're out of 2/3 of this name as it just ripped up. And the thing is, no continuation on the futures, right? So futures do not continue. So once again, we'll just slowly start to get out of this trade here on Microsoft. And what it was a long on the 50-period break. It wasn't just a 50 period. I mean, it was nice to have the 50 period there, but we also just kind of covered, and it sucks because we have this wick all the way down, and if I edit it out, maybe it'll be a little clearer. What is that, 1020? But I'll just talk as I'm doing this, but it was just basically seeing some resistance. Yeah, they're 284. Yeah, okay. 295.90, let's just say, was the low of that candle. Adjust it right there. Yeah, it was more, it had to do with the 50 period, that's fine, but as you could see, this order was in before that. It was just a break here of some of these levels. So 296.80. As soon as we got through a lot of this, like we went long, got out, limited damage, and then we took the break. We're just hoping that the NASDAQ would continue through. So now that we are, I think it's reasonable to at least hold this a little bit down in case we get jiggled out. But again, we are watching the NASDAQ trying to break lower now. So it doesn't make much sense to sit on this as we know the capabilities of Softy can get back down in if we're wrong. So that's not really a name that we want to be resting on too much. Here, Microsoft, as the futures are having a hard time getting above the 50 period one more time here at 14,280 there on the futures. So watch out for that. BBIG not doing anything for me, so that's not moving. And then CEI, I mean, again, we did take 101s. We got a bunch of outs there at 101. Let's see if it still wants to go. But CEI, I'm still holding on to this position. We still have our out down here at 94, maybe a reload back to 96. But honestly, I have enough shares that if this goes, we could celebrate it. So we'll wait for that one on CEI, hopefully making a big move back to the upside, trying to cash out near this 102.
Oh, that was the dirtiest move ever on NRSN there. I know you're watching this, Scott H, in the chat. Remember I said that 650 level? So as soon as it breaks downside on NRSN, if we can throw the chart up quickly here, it breaks downside. I'm getting filled at that 580. It looks like it's about to test my next bid to the downside. And then one candle up breaks the 650. The second it's above 650, it is like the dump comes in. You blink an eye, and it's right back to those lows at 540. So it essentially it broke the downside, started filling and printing for the shorts, and then ran the stops and then capitulates. Sometimes that's just how it is. It's not going until it breaks some stops. You got to be able to live with it. But you know what? If you don't have a stop there, it could be taking out that high and halting on you, and then you're having your like a day ruined, or you're just getting too big of a move on a low float name. So you've got to be willing to take the stop out when it comes in. While that was happening, going the other direction was Vinco Ventures. So finally, finally the roller coaster that is Vinco is at least starting to come back into these levels where we're getting out earlier. It's taken a while, but hey, sometimes you just have to be patient. Guess what? It held support, so there wasn't a reason to get out. Just needed to make a bit of a move here, and it's finally going to be doing that, Brendo.
Some of the weakness, guys, was coming from the banking group. A lot of them, though, starting to bounce a little bit. Just saw both Goldman and Wells Fargo here back to that last little bump up high. Again, back to 0.25% for WFC. This is the 10-year. Right back to recent highs here, 2.25 for the 10-year right now. Absolutely straight up once again today.
Yeah, that's one chart I don't like you that much, man. Like those yields. Look, I know we had Frank talking about that this morning, but you can't ignore it. And I think when we start to get, when you start to get the 10 moving as fast as it is, start worrying about that inversion. That's a bad word around those markets. But oil's still making a run. I wanted to quickly try to show the 15-minute chart. I think we're going to go. I thought I heard Miss V in a quick second, but Occidental looks like it's close to this 63 on the 15 minutes. So it is starting to churn. I do prefer shorting over in Chevron, and I look at that and say 165 could be good, but it's not at that price. But if you're still long in Oxy, which I'm not, that 63 level, a pretty big one. Was that Miss V?
Hey Neil, we've got a super chat from Aristoteles 42. NRST was a great call, Neil. We're so glad you're having a profitable day. And guys, by the way, we've got 1,800 likes. Thank you so much. There's still a couple of minutes until the end of the morning show, so hopefully we'll be able to push to 2,000 likes with your help, guys. Back to you guys.
Oh, now I've typed it wrong.
Yeah, Neil typed it wrong. I just want to say about that, thanks for the super chat. And me and Neil just under our breath there, like we're still negative on NLSN, but the point is that you avoid some of those crazy hits. And that's why, like, although right now we're crushing Microsoft as we reloaded that, part of that is, and again, you could talk more about it, it's getting out of the way so that you're not part of a dramatic move one way or the other, right? And I feel like the same kind of avoid that I had there, which I'm still negative, like I said, negative on Facebook, but it was this move got out of the way here, average, and then out of the way as it drops back down. So like we're out at 211. This thing goes down to 207.90 right there, and we're able to get out of the way of Facebook. So I think that's, and again, thank you so much for the super chat. We hope that you guys are positive on the name, but it's more about the strategy. Like we trade a lot of names here, and when you're wrong on something, if you can get away with it, that's a win. Like, so that's why, like, even on Alibaba, like being able to switch it up and go short there was huge. We only have 10% left of Alibaba, so I'm thinking about reloading this. But again, we did. Oh, here, quickly talk because I got to get out. Wow. Okay, Softy, I like you. Softy comes in and we reloaded that one. So that's another example there where we like the trade, right? We like the stock. My kid says now. Oh, we were watching something and it was about GameStop, and my 10-year-old goes, "I like the stock." Which is nuts because
nice.
That's what all those guys were saying.
It was up today.
Yeah, exactly. So he likes the stock. But there we go. We reloaded on Microsoft as we like the stock. It came back in here, hit the 50 period, and now rips up to the upside there. So Microsoft starting to go on a little bit of a jailbreak here in the futures as that made that bottom and now starting to go back up. We watch these levels right here in the future, though, to see what happens right there. And like I like to say, let's start by ringing the Reggie at some point here, Brendo.
Definitely. Another one that can get going if it wants to, guys, on the short side. Bed Bath & Beyond just popping up. I was just double checking to make sure there wasn't anything breaking on this. I don't see anything, but nice move here for BBBY on the NASDAQ.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so you get an upgrade of BlackBerry. You get Bed Bath & Beyond going. We showed a GameStop getting to one. It did get to 100 today. So, I mean, it's not like it didn't do anything. It had the big move on earnings as well. But Vinco Ventures, the other stock with a bunch of B's in it, remember that 306? Yeah, getting almost all of it out in front of 306 just makes sense. And just like Mullen, holding on to a piece in case it can break out. In the case of Vinco Ventures, it's not the high of the day that I'm concerned with, where it's just this 306, and I'd hold it to that high of the day if we can, if it breaks. There was a good question in the chat, or at least a good comment in the chat about U.S. Steel, which we traded, okay, so U.S. Steel was one of those. We made a call about shorting U.S. Steel in the morning and then never got into the trade. It happens, right? Like, and it's one thing to say, okay, I like this setup, I like this fade. But at 9:30, when volume starts to come in, it can be tricky to put on multiple trades at the same time. It's now triple top at $35. Multiple breaks at this level. It is worth noting, when you look at this, it is a breakout on every time frame above this 35, right? So be very, very careful when you short something like that, because on every time frame, your daily chart, and not all time highs, U.S. Steel's been higher than this before, but like it's 35 levels, it's a big one, and I feel like you at least need to be below this it's not Friday, it's a Thursday high, like 34.80. I'd feel much more comfortable if it got and held below that price. Or it trapped some longs by breaking out one more time and then slamming back down. I get it. It's always enticing to try and hold a short like this, but that's a big break that it's trying to make. And if it consolidates and starts to go, I mean, there's no overhead resistance for this thing at all. So I'm staying away from it. It would have to be back below that 3/4 before I even think about it. Brendo at the big screen. Time for a little money talk.
Hey guys, yeah, relatively quiet start to the week on currency markets coming off the Fed last week. That's Bitcoin. We'll talk about that in a second. Stuck in the middle, but U.S. dollar, first off, showing some strength. It was red early on, back to positive, at least on the day. So 98.25 there. The euro down about the same. Canadian dollar still holding on to a bit of a gain today. It was up about 0.25% to 3, or 0.3, I should say, to start off the week. British pounds higher. Japanese yen, Swiss franc, Australia all to the downside. Yeah, Bitcoin's still at that 40 level, which if you go to a daily chart is becoming, as I said, kind of stuck in the middle of a range. So 40,000 in the middle, we go down all the way to 33, 32, top end 45. So a bit of a consolidation, I guess you could say, for Bitcoin. Guys, back over to you.
Yeah, buddy. And I was sort of noticing in that consolidation that you're talking about, the Silvergate, which has been trying to make some moves itself. And I'm only bringing this up because Brendan just talked about Chapter Crypto. Silvergate actually attempting to make a bit of a breakout on the daily chart as well, above 138. You'll see that it just wicked above there a little bit on Friday, and then it tried to make that break this morning, pull back in. If it can get back above 138, it's just such a monstrous level on the charts. And this is usually pretty decently shorted. I'll double check the short interest on Silvergate, but not a ton of volume, but one to watch. If it gets and holds above that 138, that is a significant move. And then on top of that, if you finally start breaking back to the 44 or 45 range in Bitcoin, I could definitely see this heading to like a 150, 160. So it's one that's on my radar because you see levels like this start to break. You're above that 200 period as well, so it's breaking back above some significant moving averages, which not a lot of names are doing at this point. But on my radar is Silvergate, and I do believe I heard.
Quickly. I just wanted to update. We did take a short on Alibaba there at that 101.50, and then since then it's been a. All the way down. Alibaba did crash a little bit through the 50 period right there. So we take another one at 101.60. That's $1 we just rang that register on. And then Microsoft right now is 75 cents up and in the money on a couple of different reloads here as well, as that name's back up to VWAP. And I think that we should probably take one more piece out right there just to give you guys a quick update on what we're doing before we go over to Ms. V or Brendan over at the big desk.
Yeah, let's have a look at some earnings, guys. We have a couple of notable names coming up tonight. And before the open tomorrow, as we said, Carnival, CCL, tomorrow morning.
So, well, it was sort of quick up there, but I think you saw Tencent Music as well.
Put it back?
Yeah,
There it is, okay.
Yeah, I mean, in Carnival, but Nike was the one.
Yes.
And that wasn't sort of,
yes.
when we were talking about, when we were sort of talking about the sentiment in China and sort of demand there and sort of the issues that they're having with supply chain and slowing down for COVID, Nike's numbers are going to be able to tell you, like, how are they doing, how are they reporting, how are they forecasting, because they're a big time player. And I think that's going to be a huge bellwether for us, obviously. And Nike, it's been under pressure because of those supply chain stories. So that's one we're going to have to watch for sure. That and Carnival, no doubt. Tencent Music, that is, probably not that big of a deal.
Yeah, hit the like again. We're almost at 2K, guys. So again, hit it again. But if you can't hit the like,
you got two accounts.
If you got two accounts, you can. If you don't have two accounts, then why don't you have two accounts? But there it is. Microsoft starting to rip upside again. $1 in the money on that name. 55 cents in the money on Alibaba. We may or may not reshort this one. Let's see. Maybe 102 up to VWAP is something. But man, I'm pretty happy with this softy trade. We were red on it and no more, as this is starting to rip up to the upside and taking out some new levels. We are getting ready to go to Trader Pratt and Miss V, but first, Brendo.
Just quickly, guys, DWAC, big move on Friday. Apparently, Trump about to go on Fox Business. So a heads up, DWAC just popping up.
All right, so let's call up DWAC quickly here,
sure.
just to have a quick look on this one. So I don't know what he's going to say, but obviously as you look at a 1 minute chart, that's a big volume spike there. Someone just came in and bought 90,000 shares of DWAC right there, busting this thing up $1. I mean, for me, it's like if you had known that this was going to happen today, you're probably already long into this area. I never like to play these bumps, but at the same time, congratulations, anybody long DWAC. It's been sort of a rough little ride over the last couple days because DWAC did make a dramatic move down from 90, I guess it was 100, down to 60, but, you know, rewarded now over the last couple days as you're trying to take out 70 again. Wow, this Microsoft is just chugging along. Damn it, why did I get out? What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, we've got 2,000 likes. Thank you so much, team. What a wonderful start of a new week. And as been mentioned, please join Brad and me right after to continue trading this day. And happy National French Bread, everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. The baguette. We like the. I mean, why is it not just baguette day, basically? Because that's what comes to mind. Not that France only has one type of bread, but
obviously,
you know, we definitely are loving that. Fresh baguette, man, at your local bakery. I recommend everyone go pick that up, unless you're Brendan.
What do you want on it though? Just butter or?
I mean, I find just bread. I'm not even butter, man. Like fresh, straight fresh bread with a little bit of. If you could throw down like a little sandwich on there, like you throw down like just a little piece of prosciutto or salami or something. Ow.
See,
that's what I'm feeling.
You're
like.
talking now.
No, not salmon flavored cream cheese. Rob just said that. That's a big no for me.
Salmon? No, Rob. I love you, Rob, but salmon flavored cream cheese, not going to be a fan. But like, we got to be butter, not margarine. I'm just That's just how it is for
we don't
myself.
We don't even have margarine in my house.
We don't have margarine in the house either. But that's what it's all about, man. Fresh bread. Now I'm going to be digging some, and there's
this is what I'm saying.
There's no chance we don't get like baguettes from our caterer ever.
Oh, today is Angus burgers, so you won't get it on a baguette.
I seriously doubt that, but I have no problem with a burger. I'll be chowing down.
Oh, I threw down burgers the very first barbecue of the season. We were barbecuing throughout winter, but yesterday, it was very nice outside, and we had burgers. So there it is. The kids are really happy
yesterday,
on that one on burgers. So burger day yesterday at the Katina House, at burger today here, date here for lunch. But I just get the little salad. Maybe I'll tweet out a picture of that one. But I got to go see what my kid's doing and make sure he didn't lose everything again.
And he gets burger.
Hopefully he didn't.
Does he?
Yeah, he can whatever. He can have
as long
whatever
as he's not having the salad with you.
As long as he's not having. Oh, David Kyle, strawberry flavored cream cheese. I'm down. You know what? If it's not going to be normal cream cheese, dill. I like the dill cream cheese is up in there, like a garlic herb-based dilly type of cream cheese would be mine. Or strawberry isn't too bad.
Like Boston, not pineapple. Look.
Oh yeah, you can have pineapple cream cheese. Actually, that's good. It's actually.
I love pineapple. By the way,
you like it on cream
It's just
cheese.
pineapple on pizza I don't like, but it's a weird one. I'd try anything pretty much. And now that we've talked all this food, we need to get you guys over to Trader Brad and Miss V because I'm hungry now. See you guys.
Welcome over to the best show on the internet. It's time for Miss V and Trader Brad.
That's right, blonde as ever, as never, guys. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the new week. Please, as usual, be active on the chat. Ask us anything. Smash that like button. And Prat, how's your day going?
So far, so good. Obviously,